Good evening, everyone. You are listening to Hookah N Headlocks. We will be reviewing, doing a quick review of Smackdown that just happened this past Friday before Night of Champions. We'll be going through Night of Champions and Raw that happened tonight on Tuesday for us in Australia. Before we start, I'm accompanied with Joe,
Hello.
Archie,
Hey.
Anthony,
Hello.
John, and
How's
I'm
it going?
Cameron. I think we'll just start off with the usual. Joe, what are you smoking today?
I'm smoking whatever Archie packed me. Archie, what am I smoking?
I made you a Dahlia Blue Ice and Eternal Lime Lit.
I'm smoking a Dahlia Blue Ice and Eternal Lime Lit.
Archie,
I am smoking a full bowl of Tangiers Experiment.
Anthony, how about yourself?
I've got 50% cane mint and 50% experiment fluff packed. It's gonna hit real good.
Refreshing. John?
I've got a dark side mix of green bean, lemon blast, supernova.
And Flick the Bean.
Yep.
Still got it.
And I am smoking Tangiers Cane Mint once again.
It's
Good
been
to
a
change
tough
it up.
week.
It's only because I had something different just before.
It's a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, pretty much. As promised, we'll just go through SmackDown quickly just because it didn't really lead up to much. With the SmackDown show, it kicked off between the US title match between Sheamus and Theory. Sheamus was accompanied by Butch and Ridge Holland. It was a solid match back and forth between them both, I feel. And near the end was a start of a rivalry for the draft for SmackDown, which was Pretty Deadly interfering, pretty much assisting Theory for the win. Yeah, Joe, do you have any thoughts on that?
Oh, yeah. I thought it was a solid way to start. It's probably the start of the rivalry there, or the continuation of the rivalry between Pretty Deadly and the Brawling Brutes, is it?
Yep.
Brutes? Yeah. But we get a bit more of an insight into what Austin Theory might be doing. Can you see Austin Theory tagging up with Pretty Deadly?
He probably could team up with him every now and
Team
then
up?
to help fight his battles or fight each other's battles.
Because I know it's probably... I mean, it's only been... How long ago was WrestleMania? 4 weeks? 5 weeks? Probably a little bit more
It's
now,
probably
sorry.
7 weeks now.
6 weeks, 6 or 7. I was a bit off there, sorry. And everyone's been asking the same question about Austin Theory. What's next for Austin Theory? Why doesn't he mention he beat John Cena more, either seriously or tongue-in-cheek? However, I think I can really see him tagging up into a little bit of a faction there with Pretty Deadly and going up against Sheamus and the Brawling Brutes. Is it safe to say you'd probably see it Money in the Bank Theory versus Sheamus for the US title?
Again?
Again?
It could potentially happen, I feel.
It could happen unless they end up going into Money in the Bank ladder match qualification matches. We'll probably have to see more about that in the next few weeks before the show.
Well, with the other thing, when Gunther was on SmackDown, they were defending the Intercontinental title before the pay-per-view, and then Gunther would just move on to another rivalry straight after.
With not necessarily defending it at the pay-per-view.
Correct. So it could be someone else going after Theory after this, and it could just be the Brawling Brutes with Sheamus focusing on Pretty Deadly.
So focusing away from the US title then.
Possibly.
Yep, that's interesting.
It could go either way, but more or less likely it would be Theory and Pretty Deadly together against...
Going forward.
Yeah. But yeah, not long after that, we had the first tag team match with Raquel and Shotzi together just to see how they gel. And they versed Damage Control, which was against Bailey and Io. It was an okay match, I felt. There was a bit of a controversial ending there where
Where she came to sit on top of her.
Bailey went for the roll-up pin diving off the top rope. And then Io tagged herself in. It looked like she tagged herself in. Drop-kicked Shotzi, but then Raquel somehow got the pin.
We're claiming all of this was planned. None of it was a botch.
Yeah,
It's just adding to the storyline of
I believe it is adding to the story of the miscommunication.
the inevitable...
possible split.
The inevitable split up between Shotzi and...
Yeah. No, the
sorry.
Damage Control.
Damage Control, Bailey and
Yeah.
Io. So it seems to be having week to week because the other girl we know now is out for a while with the ACL. So it could be an internal blow up, which I think to echo my sentiments on the show before. I think a bit of left field, it could come out as Bailey coming out as the face. But yeah, you saw a bit more miscommunication, I beg your pardon, on SmackDown, and you really saw the other team take advantage of it. So it adds to the drama.
Yeah, and definitely after the match too, you saw the frustration between Bailey and Io after the match, which is adding to the story.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not long after that, Cameron Grimes had his second match on SmackDown with Hit Rose, Ashante, Adonis. Very quick match, I felt. It was just to boost up Cameron Grimes, show him off a bit more. But soon after, he's going to get his first arch rival, which is Baron Corbin, where Corbin attacked him as he was on the stage after the match.
So you mean to tell me that Baron Corbin looks strong on a pay-per-view?
The night before pay-per-view.
I'm joking. That's good enough for Baron Corbin at the moment.
Honestly,
as anyone that's been listening to the show, and you boys know for years, I'm a massive fan of Baron Corbin. Of course, the last man to pin Roman Reigns. I'd love to see Baron Corbin come up strong, and that's what it was. I think the match was solid, had to be. Hit row, just another tag team in a holding pattern at the moment. The other boy did look strong, and that was his second match.
Yes.
That was his second match, yes. So ticked all the boxes. Then with Corbin coming out at the end, it's just great to see Corbin. Great to see Corbin get on top of someone. Great to see Corbin looking strong for once. I mean, yeah, him, Elias, and Rick Boogs probably all deserve each other at the moment. But Baron Corbin is my favourite out of the three of them.
Yeah, definitely. And it's actually nice to see Corbin actually get some proper stage TV time, not backstage.
Yeah, it's getting, like I said last week, the top gets higher the more he climbs. When they want us to take him seriously, it's going to be, oh my God, we've been so far back. It's going to be the slingshot effect. How fast can he go? Because I still think there's a lot in the tank for Baron Corbin.
Oh, definitely. He's still young too.
Fingers crossed.
Well, I know I didn't watch SmackDown properly, but on the Baron Corbin topic, could you see possibly it has helped a few main roster wrestlers? Maybe he goes back to NXT to find himself again.
I don't think he needs to go back to NXT. He just needs to just cut these happy gimmicks or lucky gimmicks or whatever else there was.
Yeah,
just needs to go back to the lone wolf. Yeah,
he just needs to be him.
Like, I think he just needs to go back to the lone wolf. Like, that was far and away his best gimmick. Yeah. And like that was when he had his most success. I don't know why they just don't put him back to that character.
Not only that, I've said it prior to when we started this podcast, was give him a face run. I feel like the crowd will be behind him.
He hasn't been face since his initial NXT run.
Never
been a face at all in the company.
They had that slight opening where he was down on his luck and Kevin Owens was trying to help him.
That should have been when it happened.
And then all of a sudden, over a weekend, he went to Vegas and he won money.
Yeah.
And he became an arrogant rich guy again.
Yeah, which I don't know.
And then he went
Like
back to, and then
floating.
He went back to that gimmick again.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there.
They missed it with him there. Hopefully, he can still pick up.
But I think that's the common cause of what happens with when you miss out on a big opportunity. But they got lucky with Roman, in my opinion. Yeah. Not long after that would have been the Bianca Belair and Asuka segment where they got into a little scuffle. Asuka attacked Belair from behind. The security or officials came in to stop the fight. Bianca got the better end of that by the end of it, but actually, I think it was the finish called the KOD.
The KOD. It was the almost KOD.
Yeah, where one of the officials caught Asuka and she got away with it.
It was the almost KOD, just like the week before it was the almost miss. Did she get her? Did she not get her? And KOD. She didn't hit all of it. And we are recording this after Night of Champions, obviously.
Yeah.
So we will get to all that. But she didn't hit all of it. So that's the build-up that they're going for the match. Inches upon inches with the miss and then with the almost KOD as well. So they definitely built that up. And, of course, the Asuka heel turn. They had to validate it, and she really seemed to get under Bianca's skin, as was on SmackDown once again.
Yeah, definitely. Not long after that, I think you have plenty to say about this one. Speaking of the devil, was the LA Knight versus Rick Boogs match.
I thought it was up there with Savage and Steamboat, Rock and Hogan, whatever that was.
Anything in Hogan?
Yeah, I think it was definitely up. No, it's who sat at ringside? Street Profits.
Yeah, Street Profits.
Street Profits sat at ringside. So Knight went off on Boogs, beat him convincingly, and then turned his attention to the Street Profits and cut an interesting promo. I don't know whether he was having a wink at them, using a bit of rap lingo, hip-hop terminology. Would it be that bit of left field thinking again, would it be that Knight could pick Boogs up and they could have a feud with the Street Profits, or do you think that Knight has now disregarded Boogs and he's going up against Ford? Because we've got that match coming up on SmackDown, don't we?
They have a qualifying match this
Knight
weekend.
versus Ford. So do you see Knight going, or do you see Boogs? Maybe Boogs is going to try to interfere in that match on behalf of Knight.
Given the result for Raw later on that we will speak about, I think LA Knight would get through. Because
Do you see Boogs interfering in that match?
I don't think
I can't
he
say
will.
it.
No, I don't
So
think
where do you
he
see Boogs at the moment? In all seriousness,
lost in the shuffle.
It's probably just lost in the shuffle.
to put it nicely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
guaranteed. Oh, can't say guaranteed because
And before we go off that one more, Street Profits, we all thought they'd be the team to break up after the draft. Do you see them continuing on in the near future?
I think so. I think for a little while they'll probably continue.
I think they might delay it.
Yep. Okay.
I would be disappointed if they stretch it out to a WrestleMania rivalry.
Maybe, or the split happens at Mania.
Yeah, because they have been one of the more credible tag teams over the last 5 years. They've always stuck together. They're a fan favourite. I'd like to, if they do eventually want to split them, I wouldn't mind the blow-off being at WrestleMania where they finally have the match.
Yeah. Plus, at the moment, given the amount of single stars that they have at the moment, I think it's just too soon to split them up now.
Yeah.
And especially now with what's happened at Night of Champions, I think they need more tag teams around.
Yeah.
So just to spread everything out at the moment, they need to maintain what it is at the moment. Yeah. After that was the brief rivalry of AJ Styles versus Karrion Kross. It was okay match, I feel. One of the Karrion Kross better matches, but that's probably because AJ was in the match as well.
How did Karrion Kross win?
He didn't.
Shock horror.
Yeah. So I guess it's a step ahead for Kross as well. AJ got his big push before them Night of Champions.
I understand AJ needed the momentum going into Night of Champions against Rollins, but Kross, and it might sound like I'm a bit cynical to certain wrestlers. However, wrestlers that I say with potential and a lot of talent, and Kross has shown more than his potential, needs to turn for him because I don't know quite what they're doing.
Yeah, especially with this whole tarot card business that he's been doing. Everyone that he's gone for, he's lost to.
Well, I'd like to say, I know...
Before you go on, Arch, he's like a poor man's Bray Wyatt.
There's still the words out of my mouth.
No, you're kidding me.
So we all miss Bray Wyatt, but we have him right here, promising the world and delivering nothing.
Yeah, that's probably a very good call.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable. That's how you know we're brothers. Yeah. It's like a poor man's Bray Wyatt at the moment.
Yeah. So I don't know where it's heading for Kross, but hopefully he can get that push a little bit later. Yeah. Not long after that was the end segment for the SmackDown, which was the Kevin Owens show featuring the Bloodline. It starts off with KO, Sami, Zayn, Roman, Solo, and Heyman.
Yeah.
Actually, no.
No, they came out. Reigns came out afterwards.
Yeah,
didn't
Reigns
he?
came out. Actually
Reigns
came out.
No, it was
The Usos.
Kevin Owens hosting the Usos.
Yes.
Where was
correct.
Heyman?
Heyman was there too.
Where was Sikoa?
Backstage. He was the last one to come out.
So it was KO interviewing the Usos with Heyman. Roman came out, then Sikoa came out.
Yeah.
Go ahead. So tell us what happened there, Ken.
A few exchange of words. Then pretty much KO and Sami were telling, what was the words that Kevin Owens said?
They
They-
are the pillar of the bloodline.
They are the pillar. They are the heart of the table, not the head of the table.
And then what did Jimmy say?
Didn't he mention that he was?
Jimmy said he was a tribal chief.
When it
Yes.
comes to the Usos,
Yeah.
it's like he's the tribal chief.
Yeah, and Paul Heyman's face was priceless. Absolutely priceless.
And word for it is he goes, "What did you do?"
yeah.
Out comes Roman. He hits the mics out of the Usos' hands, confronted Sami. Then KO got the stunner. Bit of a scuffle in between. KO and Sami were getting the better hand at first until Solo came out and dominated.
Then after that, it was relatively, I'm not going to say violent, but it was a beatdown.
Yeah.
It was a beatdown of Owens and Zayn.
They had them laid out.
Yep. And probably the key part of the whole thing was with Jay handing the tag belts to Solo, and Jimmy hesitating, giving the tag titles to Roman afterwards.
Yeah. And it's funny seeing Jay being so worried about Jimmy's actions when Jay was the one to stand up to Roman at the beginning.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like he kind of
He wants to get into Roman's good books after all this.
Well,
I think we saw that change again with Sammy. One of them was closer to Sammy, then the other one was a bit more hesitant.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seemed
Then-
like a
then-
opposite effect.
Yeah, then it was a flip of the coin who attacked Sammy. And then once again, I know a few people draw parallels to Triple H and Batista at the end of 04, the end of 05. We saw Roman holding those titles, and Roman was transfixed with those titles, and we saw Solo looking at Roman almost as if to say, you think you're all that. You think you can do all this on your own. So that was just another wink. And, of course, it does draw parallels with Triple H and Batista late 04, early 05, before their big, massive feud. That was fantastic.
well, let's not forget as well when Sammy joined the Bloodline, where Jimmy was easily accepting Sammy into the Bloodline, and Jay was the one
Yeah.
was the very hesitant one.
Jay was
The
hesitant.
bar of it, yeah.
Yeah, and then when it came to Sammy hitting the chair on Roman, what happened
Was
was
Jimmy super kicked Sammy?
Jimmy was the one to easily revenge,
Yeah.
and Jay was the one that was hesitant. And I feel like this is the same storyline where
Yeah.
Jimmy is the one to easily forgive and forget, and also, you know,
Well, even to the most jaded viewer who tunes in every week,
Mm.
it was like, all right, so which one likes Sammy now? Which one doesn't trust Sammy now? Which one trusts Roman? Which one, even though you can obviously tell the difference between them, it was like each week, well, not so much each week, maybe that's a bit exaggerated, but it seemed to go back and forth, trading personas between Jay and Jimmy. But I think now, as we'll find out later in the show, I think it might be set for a while now.
yeah, definitely. But overall, with SmackDown, it was
solid.
It was solid.
It was
Good-
solid for what it was.
Good start for post draft, just to start a few rivalries, in-show rivalries, also say. And yeah,
SmackDown once again uses the 2-hour compact show to its
better use.
better usage, to its greater degree.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And to the main event of the weekend, which was Night of Champions.
Now, do we do this part in Arabic?
No, I don't think so.
Sammy did enough for all of
Trash
us.
way.
That's right. Night of Champions.
Yeah. One thing that we weren't too happy about was the kickoff for the World Heavyweight title, but obviously due to Seth's movie with Captain America, I think they had to cut it short to the beginning so they can have a match. Overall, the match was actually the longest on the card, I think, or second longest.
Second
actually.
longest, yeah.
Second longest.
Behind the tag team match?
Yeah, behind the tag team match. Overall, it was a good match, but I feel like the ending was a bit dead. But hey, we got a new champion.
We, in our predictions last week, I think you and I were pretty adamant, Cam, there was going to be no shenanigans, no interference.
Yeah.
We got a wrestling match. We saw Seth favour a knee, injured a knee, and at that point, once again, to the more jaded viewer, it was like, all right, we know he's been doing the pre-tape segments on Raw. He's been shooting the scenes for, is it Captain America, New World Order?
Yep.
That's the movie. Is it going to go to AJ? And at that point, earlier in the match, it was like, all right, this is how they're going to work out. This is how the belt's going to go to AJ. In the end, I can't believe I was saying it. Even though I tipped Seth, I was generally surprised Seth had won. Mainly because they really factored in that knee and there was that shadow, and good luck to Seth, everything he does in all of his endeavours, but there was that shadow of him shooting the scenes for the new movie. So I don't know what they were going at there with the knee. What do you think, boys? What was the point of the injury, the knee? Was it him overcoming adversary?
Yeah, I think it was just him overcoming the odds of an injury to become world champion again. I think it was just him selling how tough he is as a guy in the ring to prove that he could always get the job done.
Yeah, I think it goes back to how he lost his first World Heavyweight Championship in 2015. His knee buckled under him at a house show against Kane.
Yeah.
I think it shows a bit of I don't think he'll ever be 100% again. I think it's cool that they put that into the storyline of how they told the story in the match. And overall, the match, when you have two of the top 5 wrestlers of the last 10, 15 years, you're going to get a classic. I think it was great. It could have had a little bit more hype from the crowd, but that might be the Saudi crowd warming up at the start. I wasn't that impressed by the crowd until the end. But I think that goes for most of the matches. And what do you think?
Yeah, I reckon going back to what John said about Seth pulling through his injury just to show he's the stronger opponent, I feel like it's also the common genre of a wrestler, mostly face, gets an injury mid-match and we're led to believe, is he going to pull through? Like, is this injury going to stop him from winning the match? Well, by the end of it, he'll pull through. He'll get the one up on the other wrestler.
It was face versus face as well, which is always a risk.
Yeah, that's true.
It's always a risk as a match.
I think AJ worked a bit more heelish, targeting the knee most of the match. That was a good way to balance it out.
Yeah.
Especially when you consider Seth, if he calls upon them, does have the more heel tendencies.
Yeah.
In my opinion. Do you guys agree with that?
I
definitely.
I agree.
Yeah. Just to answer your question before, Joe. Yeah, I feel like it was to add depth to
It must
match.
have been.
Just to not make it look like
Because
a back and forward match.
did you think once they worked that in, and once again, not to bang on about it, shooting the movie, did you think at that stage AJ was going to win, or did you still stick with your tip of Seth?
Well, last week when we spoke, I did say if there was going to be interference, it would most likely be Cross, but they settled that on the SmackDown before.
Yeah.
So that kind of nullified it out, unless, Cross wanted to continue, but he never continues a rivalry after he loses.
Yeah, do you think they kind of put themselves into a little bit of a rush there with the Cross and AJ thing?
They should have just left it for the week after, to be honest.
Throwaway.
I guess people would have been expecting Cross at Night of Champions, but then again, we were expecting Lashley and LA Knight at WrestleMania. So
Well, Cross was at Night of Champions, but
yeah,
he
he
was in
was.
the
Part
crowd.
of the crowd.
And,
He was in
and
the-
LA Knight was, and Omos was,
And Street Profits.
and the Street Profits were. I don't know if they were planted there or they sat there for the whole event. I'm not sure, but yeah, that was interesting to say the least.
Yeah.
I think but not to get too sidetracked, Archie brought up the crowd there. I think the crowd would have really gravitated to an Omos match. I think they would have got excited about an Omos match.
Larger
Big
than life
guy,
characters.
Saudi Arabia, larger life character.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
they
that
love
was-
those sort of
I
matches.
think they might have missed a step there, but there's plenty of more events in the Middle East to come.
Yeah, can't give it all to Omos.
Omos. I like Omos.
Yeah, especially after the last one. Since it's a pay-per-view, we'll go to the match ratings. Out of 5, Joe?
Seth Rollins, AJ Styles, brand new World Heavyweight Championship, kick off a pay-per-view. Match was a classic. Probably lacked a bit of drama and intensity throughout, especially at the end cam. How can you fault it though? I'll give it a 4 out of 5.
Yeah.
Archie?
Like I said before, 2 of the top 5 of the last 10, 15 years. The drama of the World Heavyweight Championship being crowned, I'd have to give it a 4.5.
Yeah, I agree with the other boys. It's a match we've been waiting for a long time. Finally seeing a new belt that Roman Reigns isn't holding on to. The match was good. I feel like, I don't know if it was just me, AJ Styles looked a bit slow towards the end of the match.
How old is AJ
He's
Styles?
45.
Is it me or I'm not one to talk? Well, I'm 31 going on 64. Does he suddenly look older? Or is it just me?
I feel like since he hasn't been on TV
Has it
for a
caught up
while,
with him? We haven't seen him. Sorry to cut you off there, Arch. What were you saying?
Bit of ring rust.
Bit of ring rust.
Yeah, maybe that could be.
Even in the face.
Yeah.
Even in the face to a certain extent, yeah.
Well, he's one of the last few to wrestle in WCW as well.
I don't know if the hair suits him.
The soccer mom here.
Yeah, I think he should have a bit of a haircut. And once again, that's coming from me.
As good as a hill.
Yeah.
John, how about you?
I thought it was a fantastic match. Like you get two of the best to ever do it, like in the business, and you put a new world title in front of them. You're guaranteed to get a classic. And I agree with what Joe said, where I felt like it lacked just like a bit of intensity, and like the ending was a little bit slow. But overall, it was a really good match. You couldn't really fault it. I'll give it a solid 4 stars.
Okay.
Yep. I feel like the ending of the match was a bit weak, personally. I don't know what happened at the end where he failed the curb stomp because of his knee, but then I think within like 30 seconds, he went for another one and got it.
Yeah.
I think you can say now, sorry once again, boys, the knee didn't make sense a lot of the time. The story and then just how injured the knee was too. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was a good match. It wasn't their best match between them two. But I'll give it about a 3.5.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, that's fair. So what about 3.5, 4, 4.5, 4.5? 4.
4.
Yeah, 4. Yeah. That's fair. It's one of those matches that could have been a 5, but was never going to be a 3.
But I think like, towards the end, like you could, like I agree with you, Joe, with Styles. So you could see he slowed down a bit, and I think that's because of ring rust. Like,
Yeah.
he'd been out with was it an ankle injury the last couple of months?
Yeah, maybe I'm a bit harsh there.
That's-
But we do have a new World Heavyweight Champion.
Yeah.
And
A champion that can represent each week.
Yeah.
Which is
does
the
this
more
title
important
carry on any legacy, any lineage from previous World Heavyweight titles?
No.
Yes.
From,
Yes.
yeah.
2002 to 2013.
Oh, are they continuing? They're
Yeah,
continuing.
They announced that.
Yep, they announced that. I read it in a
Well,
report.
somebody's got to go get some Texter or some liquid paper and go have a look at Roman's black World Heavyweight title. Because I just gave it away there. It says World Heavyweight Championship on it, right?
Yeah, it does.
Am I right or wrong? Seriously.
No.
Yeah, it says World Heavyweight Champion.
We're getting a bit icky-picky here, but you've got... What's this title exactly called now that Rollins has?
The World Heavyweight Championship.
WWE World Heavyweight.
It's a WWE World Heavyweight Championship. What is the black title that Roman has? What's that called?
WWE Championship.
Then what's the one that says World Heavyweight on it?
That's the WWE Championship.
Doesn't it say World Heavyweight?
It says World Heavyweight Champion.
Yeah,
on it.
so we've got two titles that say World Heavyweight in it, in the same company. Something's got to give there.
Yeah. I think they might just have to change Roman's one to Undisputed.
Maybe change the design.
I think Roman should go back to one title.
Yeah, I think they will do that eventually.
Yeah.
So we gave a bit of a spoiler there. Night of Champions ends with Roman holding on to the titles, the world titles.
Yeah. Yep. Next match, I feel, was the big surprise of the evening, which was Trish Stratus versus Becky Lynch. Very solid match between the two. And we had a surprise interference near the end there with Zoe Stark. John?
Yeah. So yeah, I thought it was a very solid match. Like Trish Stratus can still go in the ring even though she's in her 40s, mid 40s now. And obviously, if you put her with the right opponent, that being Becky Lynch, you can still get a very good match out of her. I think it was safe to say nobody expected Trish to win the match. Obviously, like her having the interference from Zoe Stark helped to get the win. But overall, it was a very solid match, and it's good to see like this rivalry probably continue on for the next couple of months because I think it's going to only get that much hotter.
Did we all tip Becky?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because I think we all thought Becky beats Trish, and we don't see Trish again until the next Raw reunion 4000 or whatever it's called. Trish is here to stay, it looks like. We're not going to give away too much more on what happens on Raw, but Trish is here to stay, at least for the short term.
Yeah.
And wow, that's up there. Becky against Trish one-on-one at a pay-per-view, Night of Champions. The interference I didn't see coming at all. I don't know about you boys. I think it's to really elevate the younger talent.
Yeah.
And I did not expect to see Becky get beaten. However, we do look at the two times that Trish has got it over Becky. She attacked her after they lost the tag team titles when she was filling in for Lita. And then the other time was Night of Champions where Zoe Stark interfered. So Becky is, of course, still strong. Trish moving as well as ever. Arguably the best she's ever moved, considering her prime was supposed to be the best part of 18 to 20 years ago. That's ridiculous. Just shows it's a testament to her. And she was way before the women's revolution and all that. A real pioneer. That's why I couldn't figure out Medusa's comments a few weeks ago degrading Trish to a certain extent. I just thought it was a lot of jealousy off Medusa.
Yeah.
Alundra Blaze. Going forward, it looks like it's going to be a rivalry that's going to last a couple of months. So I'm really looking forward to that because give us more Becky versus Trish. I think the match was solid, very physical as well. And for a long time, you thought Becky was going to come over until the interference.
Archie?
Yeah. Solid match. The interference helps with the longevity of the storyline. I think Endgame will be Zoe and Trish versus Becky and a returning Lita. Because we still haven't seen Lita since she was attacked backstage before her title match by Trish Stratus. Zoe Stark, I think we all know how high I am for her. She's probably going to be a top 3 in the women's division for the next 5 to 10 years if they handle it correctly, and complementing her with Trish is probably the best way to build her up. And I'm glad they got away from the Nikki Cross and the Candice LeRae storyline.
Yeah, totally unexpected.
Yeah.
Anthony, what was your thoughts?
I really enjoyed that match. The main thing I could take from that, other than the interference, was Becky sort of going back to her man gimmick where she's just badass brawler. She just doesn't give two craps. She just goes in for a fight. She She does all she can. And I reckon that worked well with the heel Trish, with the way she's been going. Like, Trish has been saying all this stuff about Becky, how she's going to beat her up. And then to see Becky go back to that gimmick where she's all about business. And Trish, Trish would like, try to contest that, but obviously by the end of that match, we could see like Trish would get desperate. So lo and behold, there's Zoe Stark under the ring to help her win that match.
Trish would do anything to get her flowers.
Yeah. It's a good way
To
put
get
it,
her
yeah.
thank you could say.
Yep. And shout out for Trish's first win since coming back from retirement.
Really?
Oh, it is too. It is too.
Yeah.
And that was her first one-on-one match, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Since
No,
2019.
Since Charlotte
Yeah, since 2019.
Yeah.
She had that one tag match with John Cena against Beth Phoenix and Santana Marella on Raw
Yep.
in 2009.
Don't forget the WrestleMania match with Snooki.
Oh, my
But,
God.
that's right. Yeah.
Oh, I forgot. Well, thank God we.
John Morrison's number one enemy that night.
Yes.
Yeah,
And then she had the All Women's pay-per-view, Evolution,
that's right. Yeah,
against, I think it was Charlotte.
Charlotte, wasn't it?
yeah.
Yep, she lost that one. And yeah, she hasn't won a singles match since then. Yeah. I think it's good. I think Zoe Stark's been put in the right place so far. Pretty much it's leading up, and it's good to see since Mania we haven't had like that controversy after a main event match prior to that.
It's all been clean.
Yeah,
We didn't see it coming.
yeah. So the pretty much
I thought when Trish went underneath the ring, she was going to get a chair, throw it over her head, and knock Becky.
and to get the DQ. Yeah, that's what I thought originally as well. But yeah, overall I think it was a good match. Trish has still got it in my opinion.
Yeah,
I'll give that match a solid 4 stars.
I'll give it a 4 as well. Once again, not to repeat myself, but can't help it. The interference we didn't see coming, very physical, strong between two pioneers in their own right. 4 stars for me. And looking forward to see where it's going to.
I'm just going to go a little bit lower on the rating there just because I feel like at some points in the match it was a tad too slow and there were a little clunky spots here and there. I'm going to give it a 3.
Yeah, I'd give it a 3.5. Mostly from what Joe and Archie have said. It would have been a 4, but like Archie said, with the bit of clunkiness, bit of slow spots or whatever. I feel like Zoe Stark going alongside with Trish, it's a very good way to get her accustomed into the main roster, have like Trish be a mentor kind of thing. It'll build up to something else. But yeah, a very solid match, I reckon.
Yep. John, what's your rating?
I think I'll give it a 3.75 stars. Like, I think I agree with what Archie said. Like, there was a few slow moments in the match where like they looked a little bit sloppy, and I think like that just takes the rating down a bit. But at the end of the day, it was good to see a shocking result with Trish winning, and obviously putting Zoe Stark with her can help Zoe get over. And obviously, if you're gonna put her with a women's wrestler, it's obviously good to put her with Trish. Is probably the best to do it. And with her heel character, you can obviously help get her over and help get her used to being around the main roster.
Yeah, it'll definitely give Zoe that big push in the end.
And because you could tell they've got something big planned for Zoe Stark if they're going to put her with someone like Trish.
Well, here's a thought. Once Trish and Zoe's partnership ends, is it Trish going to end on a face note, or does Zoe turn face?
I feel maybe Zoe takes down Trish as the ultimate defiance and she doesn't want to be bossed around anymore. But I do think Zoe continues as a heel.
Yeah.
I see Trish coming out of his face.
Yeah.
Very similar to see how I see Bailey and
Io Sky.
her name always escapes me. Bailey and Io Sky. I see Trish coming out of it as a face at the end of it all.
Yeah. Not only that, we'll go back to it later on the Raw review. Because I picked up something at that segment too, which we'll talk about a bit later. Not long after that match was the Mustafa Ali versus the Ring General Gunther. I was actually really impressed with the match. And one thing I'll go to just before the actual match started was the little segment with Ali gone to Mecca, which I thought was pretty wholesome. I think it was a nice gesture for WWE to show.
It was. It was, especially all five of us here are religious. It was wholesome, obviously from another religion. To really showcase a man happy on his journey and Ali going back to the promised land of Mecca. Very up close and personal. You probably saw footage there that you never thought you'd see on WWE television. Yeah. So it was good. In terms of the match itself, not to say I called it, but I called it. You had a few quote-unquote hope spots for Ali, but you never thought he was coming over the top of it. There was probably one stage there where, is it the 450? And then he went for the other one and you thought surely not. And then, of course, he never hit it. And then Gunther put pay to that pretty quickly. Gunther came out of it looking strong, as he does every other match. Gunther just looks so safe to work with, makes everyone else look good. Not that Ali's talented. I know he probably hasn't reached the pinnacle of where he should have by now, but Ali is very talented. It was a good match. It was a feel-good match for most parts and the right result. No one could begrudge that.
Yeah. Going into that match, I didn't have that high of expectations. I knew it would be a solid match, but I didn't expect it to be that good, to be honest. There were actually exactly what Joe said. There were one or two hope spots there where I thought this could be one of the big upsets we have seen in a very long time in wrestling. Going back to the pre-match segment of Ali, that was so nice to see. And it shows how WWE have progressed and they're a bit more wholesome and welcoming to other cultures. Yeah, I appreciate that. It was a great match, actually.
Yeah, going back to our predictions, we all said there's going to be those feel-good moments for Ali, and yeah, they did pull through with that, especially in front of a sort of home crowd for Ali. Like, the crowd was really gunning for him, especially after that promo they had for him beforehand. Gunther, of course, worked well with Ali. Like Joe said, Gunther's very good with the other wrestlers. He can make them look strong. He can totally dominate them. But yeah, Gunther pulling through made Gunther look strong as always. Even Ali, you could see there's still potential in him. There's still much more room for him to perform and just hit his peak.
Yeah, definitely. I think this is a start for a good push for Ali now after that pop. Same thing with Zelina and Puerto Rico. John?
Yeah, just to start with the pre-match promo, I really like the fact that they actually did that to show Mustafa Ali's roots, like in his culture. Like, I never thought I'd actually see WWE do something like that, and it was a very welcome addition, if I'm being honest. Like, it shows like what Mustafa Ali is pretty much like all about, especially with his religion, and like it got the crowd going a bit, and like that's probably a good way to get the Saudi crowd going because they weren't really at the hottest before the match. So I think that was a good way to wake them up a bit and to lead up to the match itself. Like, it was a lot better than what I thought it would be. Like the boys were saying before, like they had the few like hope spots where it looked like Mustafa Ali would actually win the match, and like it actually had me on the edge of my seat a bit when he hit the 450 splash and he went for the cover, and I thought there's no way Mustafa could actually come away with the win here. But at the end of the day, Gunther winning was the right result, and he looked good in victory. And I think it was probably just like the right way to book the match, and it was very, very solid overall. Like, both of them are very good in-ring talents, and Gunther can have a good match with pretty much anybody. And if you put him with someone like Mustafa Ali, you know for a fact it'll be quality.
Yeah. Just to go back to that wholesome moment, I feel the rest of the WWE Universe was a bit dead on that reaction. No one really picked it up on Twitter or even in the Facebook comments about it.
I guess that's a positive thing that people... Because it could have went either way, especially on somewhere like Twitter. Yeah. And I was probably one of the first people to be looking up on Twitter for just something negative for someone to pick on. And like, I'm kind of glad they just let it slide.
I feel like there should have been some positive reactions, but no one reacted to it. No. Which I found a bit unfortunate in that way.
But I'll tell you what, like that, probably nobody saying anything positive is probably better than people going on negative about it. Because I was waiting for a lot of negativity about that.
No one's pushing their agenda.
Yeah.
Which is surprising for Twitter.
Exactly.
Yeah, very surprising. Yeah. Not long after that, which was my... Oh, yes, sorry.
Ratings?
Yes, ratings. Let's just... So, for the ratings for that match, it was a quick solid match. Could have been more. I'll give it about 3 stars because it was a good match, but a lot more could have happened. But yeah, Archie?
I'm going to have to go a little bit higher than that. Like, it was better than 3.5, just not that good to be a 4. I'm going to go in the middle and give it a 3 3/4 stars. Amph?
Breaking the mold there. 3 3/4.
Yeah, I feel like there were some moments where not really we would expect more, but they could have pulled the gun and just had like some spectacular spots, especially knowing what Ali and Gunther are capable of. But overall, it was a very nice match. It was good to watch, and I'd say it's a bit shy of a 4, just like Archie said, probably 3 and 3.75 star rating, yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think I'll probably give it a 3.75 stars. Like, it wasn't really good enough to be a 4, but it wasn't bad enough to be anything less than a 3.75. Like, I felt if they got just a little bit more time in the match, it probably could get bumped up to a 4 because it was, for what it was probably less than 10 minutes, I'd say, maybe pushing 10.
So in the 10-minute mark, yeah. I'm pretty sure. It
was a pretty solid match. Like, I think if they were given maybe close to 15 minutes, it could have been a lot better, and it could have definitely been at least a 4.
Joe?
I'll give it since we're going in the quarters, I'll give it a 3.25. Solid. A couple of high spots were good. Love to see Gunther wrestle. Ali looked good as well. The atmosphere, the pre-match, the post-match, 3.25 for me.
I feel like I'm being a harsh rater today.
No, it's all right. You can't
I gave Trish and Becky a 3, so I'm there with you.
Next up was Asuka versus Belair for the Raw Women's title. My first wrong tip of the night. Actually, second, Becky. Actually, we all tipped Becky. Very good match, I felt. Probably one of the best matches of the night. Probably the second best. With a bit of a controversial finish with Asuka rubbing the poison mist on her, or spraying it on her fingers and rubbing it on Bianca's eyes and getting the win. Good match, I feel. Anthony, what was your thoughts?
I feel like that was probably, my second favourite match of the night. It was always great to see them two in the ring, especially with the rivalry they have going on. Like Cameron said, with the spraying the mist on the fingers towards the end of the match, I was surprised by that, to be honest. Like, I was thinking, surely that wasn't it for Asuka, like missing the mist. Like, surely there's something else, because they've been building up that mist with their rivalry. It was good to see her go dirty, play into the heel persona, rubbing it in her eyes, blinding her, and capitalising off that to finally win the championship. We've been waiting a long time to see Asuka with the belt around her.
I think I might add to it, it was actually quite innovative. It's not just the straight spray to the face, which was a different way of hitting it. John, how about yourself?
Yeah, I really liked the match. They're both very, very good workers. And I think they both played their part of the match really well, especially with Asuka going a different route when it came to using the mist, like just spraying it all over her hands and then raking Belair across the eyes and taking advantage of the opportunity. Like, as good as the match was, I don't think it was probably as good as their Mania match, but it was still very, very solid nonetheless. And I think Asuka finally winning a title is probably the best decision, and it freshens up things for Belair a little bit.
Joe?
Always the testament of the excitement is coming into a match and saying, we know what they should be doing, but the other option hasn't been bad either. And it was only a few weeks ago I sat here and I said that Bianca Belair reminds me of a quasi John Cena. Too strong, too popular. Why the hell would you take the belt off her? Well, it took to the very next pay-per-view for the belt to get off her and Asuka to win. I've got to admit, when Asuka missed that first mist, I was already looking forward to playing as her character in the next AEW game. I thought that was it. I thought Belair's going to win, and that's going to be the end for the half. That's going to be, as much as I love Bianca, for a couple different reasons. That's going to be the end of Asuka. The heel turn's no good. She can't win. She can't win anything. She's all happy and shit backstage, but it's just a waste now. And how well did they work in that mist? I don't think I've ever seen Arch. You're pretty up to date with all this stuff, Cameron, to a certain extent too. Have you ever seen Muda or Tajiri do that, where they miss a mist?
That was pretty innovative. That a different way to use the mist.
It was the same color mist.
That's the one she's been using.
Yeah, it was the same color that she missed prior
The blue.
to the match. So we're led to believe that was a bit of excess, something like that. So she had excess in her mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was very, very smartly done and keeps Bianca very strong too, because Bianca got blinded and she done a good job, almost too good of a job of selling it after the match of getting blinded. But it just had to happen. I don't think Bianca will be too upset. I don't think that'll be her last title run. But it goes to show how quickly things can change in a month and change for the positive. And it was two ring generals in their own right, female ring generals. And it was exciting. And one of those matches, like I said before, you know what should happen, but you know the other option's very good, so it's always interesting, and it came through right in the end.
With that, given Bianca's history with losing to Becky at SummerSlam, are we going to get a repeat of that with Bianca getting another title shot later this year or beginning of next year?
I'd be disappointed to see Asuka drop the title back to Bianca within a month or two. I really would. I think with the Becky thing, it was kind of justified. It was that crazy time, we call it lockdown, pandemic, COVID wrestling, where you could pretty much justify anything. Not to say it was wrong, but I'd be terribly disappointed if this was a 1 month reign and the title goes back to be off Asuka in a couple of months or 1 or 2 months.
And if so, when should when should Bianca win it back?
Well, does she have to win that title back?
She's on Raw.
Isn't the money match
they're both on
Bianca versus
SmackDown,
Rhea?
but they got the Raw title on SmackDown now.
Isn't the match that we're all looking forward to Bianca versus Rhea
I think
eventually?
either that or Becky Lynch versus Rhea Ripley.
Or Becky versus Rhea? Yeah.
One or the other.
We'll probably get Becky versus Rhea. The thing is now, because what was Bianca's title reign length?
It was over 400 and something days.
We're just so used to her with that title. And we see what happens when people lose their titles, wrestlers lose their titles. Sometimes there's a heel turn there. Interesting to see. I know she's married to Montez Ford in real life. On screen, there's no real interaction between them, is there?
Not yet.
No.
There hasn't been. Has it been acknowledged on screen?
Only in the pandemic WrestleMania when she came out to help them win their tag match.
Sorry, yeah, that's true. And I know they start together in that commercial, but we only have to look at the Bloodline to realise that that's not canon because Solo spoke in it. So, I don't know. Maybe there's as gutsy and unpredictable as it might sound, maybe there's a hill turn there for Bianca, but it's going to be generally interesting to see where they go with Bianca for now.
John, what was your rating for the match?
I think I'd probably give it a solid, probably 4 stars, I guess.
Yeah. Archie?
Yeah, just some general notes about that. You have two of the top female athletes in the company and also the wrestling business going at it. You can't really go wrong with it. I think we all agree that the miss spot was quite innovative and they found a way to work it in, and it works great with her heel gimmick. She found another way to make her heel tactic work to get her a victory. It doesn't always have to be the spray. Now we also have to watch out for if she gets the spray on her fingers now. It's going to be something that hopefully she can carry on and maybe she finds another way to use the poison mist.
Yeah.
In terms of the rating, I'd give it a solid 3.5.
F?
I reckon for me, it would be easy for 4.25. There was some... Comparing it to the WrestleMania match, I feel like I enjoyed this match more in terms of seeing the innovative use of the mist and seeing a heel Asuka just doing what she does. Like Archie said, two top female stars in the company, even in the industry. It was very good to see good use of that. Which way they would turn using the mist into like another new way, like maybe spraying it on a weapon or another way like that. Maybe in a rematch with her and Bianca, no DQ match or TLC match, who knows? But yeah, easy 4.25 for me.
Yeah, pretty high. For me, I'll give it a straight 4, even 3.75, but I give it more to the 4 just because it's revamped Asuka for one. It's brought in a controversial storyline. It's adding depth to Asuka, especially. And yeah, it's leading to good for both, I feel. I think both Bianca and Asuka will move on into better places even afterwards. Joe?
The ring work, the drama, and the quote-unquote right result, 4.25 for me.
Done. Yeah, very good match. And next up after that was the match of the night. Rhea Ripley versus Natalya, which only lasted a minute and 10 seconds.
Exactly what it had to be. Could have went a minute and I wouldn't have complained. It was just there for Rhea to rack up another win. Natty is not a top competitor anymore. She may be great in the ring. She knows she is a ring general for the female division. But I think it's time to slowly push her out of in-ring competition. I did not take this seriously. Sorry.
I don't think anyone took this match
Nah.
seriously.
It's just there for Rhea to rack up a win and a holding point until a bigger matchup comes.
Yeah, I think the proper challenge for Rhea will be at not Money in the Bank, at
SummerSlam.
SummerSlam, yeah.
John?
Yeah, like the match went for a minute and 10 seconds, and I was saying last week it'd go for 3 minutes. It was an extra 2 minutes quicker. Like you can't really say much about it. It was just there to make Rhea Ripley look as dominant as possible. And I agree with Archie where I think it's probably time to slowly phase Natalya out of ring competition. And just another funny fact was when Natalya was making an entrance, Michael Cole said it was her birthday. So that's a good birthday present for her, getting destroyed by Rhea Ripley in a minute. Like I couldn't take that much seriously. Like I don't know. There's not much to say about it.
Joe, anything?
Rhea and Bianca. Rhea and Natalie, I beg your pardon.
Natalya?
Beg your pardon, Natalya. What more can you say? Probably what we thought a lot was going to be. It was a lot shorter than I thought. I know Archie and John had a couple predictions. Yeah, strong as ever. It's just another notch in Rhea's belt. And Natalya, well, at least she picks up her paycheck week to week, and that's all I'll say about her.
Going back to what Archie said, him saying if it was a minute, he wouldn't have complained. If it was a minute longer, would there be any complaints from you seeing Natalya just being bullied in the ring?
I feel like if it was a minute longer, she would have had a 30-second hope spot, and then Rhea just crushes her. Same ending, just a minute longer.
It was just another minute to be able to look at Rhea Ripley, pretty much.
This is a family podcast, John.
Building off that, I reckon for me, seeing Rhea in the ring, it's always a treat. She's always amazing in the ring. You enjoy watching her, no matter, including Natalya, no matter who she versus. But yeah, we couldn't really expect much considering there was not really any build-up. It's kind of a nothing match. Yeah, Rhea gets a win on the belt, Natalya gets a paycheck. I didn't get much out of it.
Yeah, definitely not much out of it. I might just do the ratings for all of us. 1 star? Or was that...
That's being generous.
Is that being generous?
Oh, I'll give it... I don't know. It was funny to see Rhea and Dom and
Embrace each other.
just see Rhea with another notch in her belt. I'll give her 1.5.
Oh, jeez, I think I'm going to go a bit too high here. Just because how Rhea was so dominant, I gave it a 2.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, it's really hard for me to say. Like I said, it was a nothing match. But from what I saw and what I enjoyed, I give it 1.5, 2.
John?
Yeah, I think I'll probably just give it a 1.5.
Yep, let's leave it at that.
Yes, so we're not that far off that negative 5-star rating Meltzer gave Warrior and Hogan in 98.
Jeez.
He'll never break the scale for -5.
That's another story for another day.
He'll never break.
Not long after that would have been the Brock Lesnar versus Cody Rhodes match, which I think we predicted it pretty well, that match, where we said that Cody will use the cast to pretty much get the upper hand on Brock. But with the finish, him passing out, is that something you agree with, Joe?
Yes and no, and not to be mysterious. We were trying to decipher. At the end of the day, we break apart wrestling as if to say, what's going to make sense? It's almost like a crime scene, modus operandi, how you go about it. What's going to make sense? What's not going to make sense? How they go about stuff. What we were trying to think is why does the underdog, because just about everyone, who comes into a match against Brock Lesnar and is not the underdog? You take away Roman Reigns' bloodline. Is Roman the underdog against Brock? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say he was.
I think
He
Roman,
is.
even with the bloodline, was the underdog.
No one is favourite, quote unquote favourite. If we're going to suspend disbelief, no one is quote unquote favourite against Brock Lesnar. So why the hell did Cody Rhodes need his arm broken? Is this a testament to Cody Rhodes and this journey and this story, this never-ending story that's going to lead to WrestleMania 40, which week by week, Brock won. We all know that. So week to week, it's still looking good for Cody. In terms of the passing out, sorry, not to get away from your question, Cam, but it made him look even stronger. There was that one, was it the bear hug?
The Kimura lock.
The Kimura, sorry, the first Kimura where he came out of it.
Yeah.
And you thought, where the hell are they going with this? Then the second Kimura to finish it on top of a lure finishes, and I'm pretty sure Cody hit 3 crossroads.
He got his third.
He got his third. He got 2 in a row, and then he got another one a little later. Brock hit 1 F5.
Yep.
Yeah, just 1 F5. So Cody looked as strong as ever. And, of course, we all have our grievances, and we're still umming and ahhing about what happened with Cody and Roman at WrestleMania 39. But if it leads to the right thing in the future, we'll all be happy with that. That's a blow we were willing to take. Going back to what you were saying there, Cam, what you asked me, it does. It makes Cody look a hell of a lot stronger. That he needed an F5, just one, a few suplexes, a broken arm, 2 Kimura locks that in total I think went on for around 5 minutes each. Now, what's this thing now where they get the wrestler's hand and they drop it after 1 and it's over? I thought it was 3.
During the Ruthless Aggression era, it was always 3.
I always
and in
remember
the
it
last
being,
10 years, they've just been doing the 1 count.
I always still remember it being 3.
Yeah, I thought even more recently.
Even recently,
Even the
it was
last
3.
Cody Rhodes Brock Lesnar match.
Yeah, I'm
was-
not saying you're wrong, Cam, but because I have noticed a few ones over time, but it's not something that they stay continuous with. What can you say? At the end of all that, I was very sure Brock was going to win, and it's just to make Cody look a hell of a lot stronger. And if that's the way Brock's going about it, and how safe Brock is, and how willing to work Brock is, was I think Brock now knows there's no more UFC, there's no NFL, there's no boxing, there's no jiu-jitsu, there's no nothing. There's only WWE for him. I don't think, has he been in any movie? Has he acted any movie?
Never.
No, so there's only WWE. So Brock now has to, not to say he hasn't been, but really has to settle down and be a team player. And that's what he is. And that's what he's been doing. And I think he's really elevating Cody. Not that Cody needs elevation, but really elevating Cody to where he needs to get. And once again, I still think it's that title off Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 40. I hope that answered your question, Cameron.
Yeah, good enough. Yeah, just to go back to last week as well, we did predict as well that with the arm being injured, that's what's going to make him lose the match too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we did a pretty good prediction on that.
Yep.
Yeah. Archie, what were your thoughts?
It was probably one of the better matches of the night. In terms of how the match was finished, I think anything but a pinfall or a submission helps Cody, keeps him strong. Brock gets his win, his heat back. Took a hell of a lot to keep Cody down, even going in for broken arm. I'll just say that. I think the only way Cody will go in after this, I think they have their blow-off match and Money in the Bank. And I think in terms of Brock after the Cody drama, I would not be surprised if we have him versus Seth Rollins at SummerSlam for the World Heavyweight Championship.
Who wins that?
Seth.
He's hoping.
Okay.
Amp?
As far as the ending goes, I don't know how I feel about that. Yeah, sure, Cody looks strong. Him passing out, whatever, not being the arm count, whatever you want to call it. Brock winning, sure, we did expect that coming off a broken arm with Cody. We were sure he was going to lose that, underdog or not. Cody having this tough, resilient character, doing everything he can, rise to fame, have this hero story with him eventually winning the belt, hopefully. I don't know what will come out of this. We'll get the rematch.
Out of the Brock and Cody feud specifically you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yep.
we get the rematch, which would hopefully be the end to their rivalry, the final chapter in the three match saga. It's really tough for me to call it at this point. Like, they're both 1-1 match each. Do we see another stipulation, like no DQ, Money in the Bank, or have something to really settle their differences? Like
Well, I know we've got Raw coming up, so we won't give away too much there, but do we think the match is happening at Money in the Bank, or it's going to happen at SummerSlam?
I think it'll probably happen at SummerSlam. Maybe.
That's a while away.
I don't know
That's
if they
still
can hold
2.5 months away.
Yeah. I feel like
Is there a July pay-per-view?
No.
So there's no July pay-per-view.
half the Money in the Bank is SummerSlam, isn't it?
Yeah. So
I feel like no matter when the third match is, I feel like it will need flavour to it. I think we'll need to see stipulation with it.
It's got, well,
put them in a cage.
I'd like that a lot.
Well, Money in the Bank is in the first week of July, so if
Sorry, there's no June pay-per-view. Sorry to cut you off there, John. Sorry, there's no June pay-per-view, but we get a July pay-per-view.
Yeah, so Money
in the Bank.
Money in the Bank's like the first week of July. So maybe they do have the match at Money in the Bank, and they probably start building it up until then. Like, they've got a month to hype it up if that's where they're gonna do it.
Yeah. Overall, it was a solid match. I think it was the better Brock Lesnar match out of the two. Out of ratings, I'll give it a 4.
You thought it was better than Backlash?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Went way longer than 10 minutes this time.
Yeah, it did too.
Yeah.
Actually, no.
Actually, no.
No way.
Just under. 9
way.
minutes and 40 seconds.
What did
How much
Backlash
of that
go?
was the Kimura?
3.5 minutes all up, both of them.
Oh my! Wow. That felt like for 10 minutes.
So both the Kimuras were 3.5.
No, together.
Together, yeah.
Wow.
Felt a hell of a lot longer than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah. The only thing I can question about it was when we spoke about it when we were watching it live together, I didn't see why it makes sense with the Kimura lock for Cody to pass out. I know you guys said it's because of the pain.
Adrenaline.
The adrenaline, and because of the pain he passed out because of that. But the arm injury could have just been avoided, and he could just put him in a choke and make him pass out, and I feel like that would have made way more sense.
You made that comment live.
Yeah.
Yeah, you made that comment live in the wee hours of Sunday morning.
It would have made more sense for him to pass out then.
I feel like applying the Kimura lock to the already injured arm helps us believe he could pass out instead of a choke where he hasn't been that abused other than the injured arm.
Basically, it makes us believe he can do all things except cop a Samoan spike at
Even
WrestleMania.
I'm not sure if you guys watch much UFC, but have you guys ever seen anyone pass out from a Kimura lock?
No, they tap.
Exactly.
Normally they'll tap from that, not pass out.
I think, and I'm no doctor. If I was, I'd be in jail by now. But the way it goes, does pain to any part of the body, if it gets too much, make you pass out? Do you pass out from the pain?
It's possible.
Yeah.
I've heard of it.
But
He already
I
had a
understand what
broken
you're
arm
saying,
going
Cam.
into it.
I understand what you're saying, Cameron. Yeah, it would have made more sense for him to tap.
Yeah.
If maybe the pressure was on his neck, if he had a neck injury or if he had internal bleeding, which I thought they might have been going there at one stage, a la Hogan and Brock on that SmackDown a long time ago. Yeah, but you're right. It kind of lies into the thing too with Seth and the whole injury thing, whether they're staying on top of it or they're kind of making up as they go.
Yeah, but the Cody, I believe the way Cody's been booked, we can believe that he passed out from the arm because we all know he wasn't going to tap. We all knew he wasn't. The way he's been booked, we're supposed to believe he's a superhero and rise amongst all the odds. I feel like that was the only way. He was never going to tap.
Yeah, but even then, that still goes back to he could have just been choked out.
But Brock's a punisher. Brock knows the go.
Brock's a sadist.
Yeah.
Brock knows where to go.
Yeah. So my rating's still 4 stars.
Yeah.
So
Joe, how about yourself?
I'll give it a 3.5. I'll give it 3.5.
Arch?
I give it a 4.
I'd give it a 3.75. It was good seeing Cody use his arm cast tactically. Surprised, I don't know why he wouldn't get DQ'd for that. I don't know if that would count as a weapon.
No,
Yeah, counts as his ring gear.
that's his ring gear.
Oh, there
Very
you go.
much like Simon Dallas Page, how he had the medal in his arm, Lex Luger, I think you said.
The bionic forearm.
Cowboy Bob Orton for a long time was actually legitimately had a broken arm.
Yep.
The Undertaker in the Hell in a Cell against Brock Lesnar, able to keep his cast on.
Until
And-
Lesnar broke it off, ripped
Yep,
it off.
But
Yep.
he was allowed to bring it in.
Yep. And more recent, Bianca Belair with her hair.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, well, that's a question I always ask, but if that's part of her body,
That's it.
if you're But then again, if you grow your nails and you scratch an opponent
Would that be
on their
covered?
back, is that illegal? If you rake the eye, that's illegal. We know that. But if you scratch your opponent on the back and cause bleeding, is that illegal? Or maybe we're getting
not.
we're getting a bit too technical here.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Do we
I'm
all
sure
remember
Sorry,
Hulk Hogan? Sorry, do you remember Hulk Hogan
When-
taking off his belt and he'd whip the opponent?
Yeah, like he did to the Rock.
Well, that's why
at
that
Mania.
never
company's
big-
not around anymore. Oh, he's talking about the WWF. Yeah,
All of them.
it didn't make sense then either.
Yeah. But I guess that's the way.
Suspension of disbelief.
Exactly. John, how about yourself? What was the rating for you?
I think I'll give it a 3.75. Yeah, what's it called? I think like the way they booked the match, like they obviously planned to make Cody look really strong, like overcoming the odds of having a broken arm, and that was like his downfall at the end, and obviously him passing out to a Kimura instead of him tapping out, so it makes him look like a superhero. It shows that. Well, it's like pretty much like John Cena. He never gives up. Like he passed out. He didn't actually tap because he gave up or anything like that. And I don't know.
Do we all still believe Cody's finishing the story?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he does eventually.
Definitely.
I think he is.
Yeah.
At this stage, it's a week.
Finishing
By
his
week.
long-term
Without
story.
a
It's a week
doubt.
to think then. It's a week to
If he
week.
didn't make it to the finals of that World Heavyweight Championship tournament, he's not going anywhere near it.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yep.
Tell us, Ken.
Next up was the highlight of the night, which was Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn versus the Bloodline of Solo and Roman. My opinion, they kept Roman and Solo looking very strong throughout the match.
They kept Roman Reigns strong.
Yeah.
Wow.
Somebody would be complaining about that.
Appreciate the sarcasm here.
It's not directed towards you. It's directed to the damn creative.
Yeah. Yep. There was a bit of good storytelling, long-term storytelling.
Yeah, there was. It was fun. It was fun.
It's
Yeah.
cinema.
You go.
Do you want to run us through what actually happened, Ken?
Yeah, I'll run it quickly.
Yep.
So they kept Roman and Solo looking dominant throughout the whole match. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn had their moments here and there, but it was predominantly Roman and Solo throughout the whole match. Eventually, once Kevin Owens and Sami got the upper hand, the Usos came out to interfere once the referee was knocked out. They came in, gave a super kick each to Sami Zayn, and then a double super kick to Solo by accident.
Accidental. Sammy and Kevin tucked.
Just Sami Zayn ducked.
Sammy ducked, and then Roman turned around to see that they had kicked Solo.
Yeah.
It was 2 super kicks from Jimmy.
No, that was
that's
to Roman.
That's a bit later.
Yeah, that's a bit
Yeah,
later.
Yeah, just talking about the Solo
I'm
part.
saying when they kicked Solo,
Yeah.
Roman looked up. Roman was on the floor outside and looked up to see them kick Solo.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Cam.
Yep. As Roman saw, he came back into the ring, pushed away or shoved both Jimmy and Jay.
Yeah.
And as Roman was turning his back on Jay, plot twist, Jay went for the super kick on Roman.
Jimmy.
Jimmy.
Oh, Jimmy, sorry.
Jimmy hit the super kick on Roman.
They have to look alike, don't they?
Yeah. Jimmy hit the super kick on Roman.
Yep.
Then that's how Roman got to his knees.
Yeah.
Jimmy then argued with his brother.
Yep. Jay's asking him, what are you doing? What are you thinking?
At that stage, sorry to cut you off there, Cam. At that stage, did we then think Jay was going to give him a kick too?
I was
did.
thinking.
I
I thought Jay was going to give him a kick,
Yep.
but Jimmy doubled down, as they say.
Yep. And then, for word, Jimmy was saying to Jay, I'm doing what you should have done. And kicked Roman once again.
That got me with Jimmy. Is he referring to all the way back at the start of the Bloodline
Yes.
thing?
Correct.
Yes.
Roman versus
Jay.
Jay in lockdown 2020?
The start of main event Jay.
Yeah, main event Jay.
That was what he was
so
alluding to.
he's referring back to all that stuff.
Yeah, he said to Jay, "I'm doing what you should have done a long time ago," and he said, like, "I've got you, Uso." Then he kicks Roman again.
Well, they're our 4 favourite words, long-term storytelling.
Yeah. To be honest, I always thought it would have been Jay to do the turn, but ended up being Jimmy. And I'll go back to what we just spoke about just before we started the podcast with both Usos, with Sami Zayn, where Jimmy welcomed Sami in with open arms straight away. And once the turn happened with Sammy, pretty much easily...
He was the first to turn.
Yeah, so pretty much Jay was the first one to forgive and forget pretty much straight away. With Jay, he likes to build up his emotions and pretty much, bottle it up.
Jay does look like more of the hothead.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've stated that multiple
Whereas Jimmy
times.
looks like the more softer one.
Yeah.
But we saw Jimmy finally flip it.
Yeah. But overall, it's a very good match. He went for just over 26 minutes. And
So after Roman got kicked to the floor, Sammy came in. KO came in, I beg your pardon.
yeah, well, Jimmy and Jay finally left.
Yep.
Solo was in the ring. Pretty much KO got the stunner
It's a hell of a kick.
into a hell of a kick and got the win. 1, 2, 3.
So we're all summarising, or we're all trying to guess who was going to pin who. In the end, it was Sammy
pinning
over Solo.
Yeah.
Sammy pinning Solo, which, I think a few people guessed it might have been. No one really thought Reigns was going to take the pin.
No.
I think a few people guessed it might have been Owens over Solo. But yeah, we were all pretty sure that was going to be Solo to take the 3 count, and he did.
But yeah, what were your thoughts on the turn and everything built up to it now?
The turn itself, we'd been theorising for quite a bit. Was it going to be Roman the one to banish him? Was it going to be Solo to turn on Roman? That was probably going to be the least possible because we all thought that was going to be further down the track. I thought it would have been Roman to banish him. I mean, are we officially calling an end to the Bloodline? If the Usos go tomorrow and it's still Heyman, Solo, and Roman, is that still considered the Bloodline? I think it is.
Yeah.
I'd say
It's still technically.
Yeah.
But with the promos happening a bit later in Raw, they questioned on the promo saying, is this the end of the Bloodline?
Well, the Usos, who's their father?
Rikishi.
You've been hearing those murmurs last 24 hours.
Yeah.
Have you seen what Rikishi tweeted?
Yeah, Archie?
No.
Anthony? I tell Archie.
In?
It was a one-word tweet, wasn't
You
it?
just
Yeah,
said
one word
enough.
tweet.
It was enough.
Enough.
So could we be seeing something?
When's the last time we've seen Rikishi on WWE television?
I think when they did one of the Raw reunions a fair couple of years back.
Well,
Archie got something to say?
Yeah, I've always said if there was ever going to be a turn in the Usos with Roman, I feel like one of the best ways to finally get the Usos away from Roman would be to have Rikishi come out, try to be the cool head, and try to bring the family together and keep peace. And Roman takes his anger out on Rikishi.
Was it an appreciation night before WrestleMania or something?
That was supposed to do it.
No, yeah, they were supposed to. And
On
they,
the Raw one, on the 30th anniversary of Raw.
Yes.
And I know we got a lot of wishful thinking and fantasy booking and all that, but apparently they were really hoping out for The Rock. And I know The Rock's name's been thrown around for years with this whole Roman bloodline thing, but they were really holding out for The Rock. If they can get Rikishi involved in this, of course, Rikishi would now have to be Cameron Watt in his
You've been
High 60s.
No,
mid-50s.
not high 60s.
Mid-50s.
No, this is- I don't want to look it up.
And up.
Yeah,
I reckon high 50s. I reckon mid 50s. Rikishi.
If I had to guess, it's probably 55, 56.
So could
57.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So we were all around the mark there, apart from Archie, who thought he was 98. No, I'm joking. So if we can get Rikishi to come in, not to carry this, but to really add some spice to carry it towards SummerSlam. Then when we get to SummerSlam, well, Survivor Series isn't that far away. Then after Survivor Series, we've got the Royal Rumble. Then we can start talking about Cody Rhodes again. But if we can get Rikishi in here now to really put an end to this and get these payoff matches, say, do we get Roman versus Jay at one point? We all think now it'll be Roman versus Jimmy at the next pay-per-view. We think, right? We think. When do we get Roman versus Jay? Does Jay then turn on Jimmy? Is Jimmy the odd one out?
Well, I have a few points
Shoot,
here
Arch.
I'd like to bring up after we give our review and the ratings of the match.
All right. So getting back to that, Cam, my thoughts was it was another main event Owens and Zayn match with after WrestleMania. We thought, oh my God, and then after Raw and then Backlash, but we've all turned around to it. It's fantastic viewing. Not to say we had a problem with it before, but we didn't want to go overdone. The turn was done well. If the turn is what it says it is, I don't think they're going to come out on SmackDown and say, oh, Jimmy kicking Roman in the face was all part of the plan. They can't go back on that now. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens on SmackDown.
Well, here's a what if. What if Jay ends up turning on Jimmy and sticking with the bloodline?
Well, that's what I kind of, before Archie started speaking, that's what I kind of alluded to. Why didn't Jimmy kick Roman?
Yeah. And let's not forget.
Sorry, why didn't Jay kick Roman? I beg your pardon.
And let's not forget when Sammy turned, he held back quite a while and still stuck with the bloodline as well afterwards.
Yeah.
So anything's possible still at the end. But does Jay turn on his own brother? His twin brother, I should say.
If you had to ask me now, without knowing what happens, of course we're going to review Raw and not giving away much, but we're not going to get anything about it or very minimal. If you had to twist my arm now, I think Jay stays with the bloodline, actually turns on Jimmy. Or Jay is forced to sort Jimmy out. Maybe that brings in Rikishi.
Maybe.
Yep.
Did you guys want to share any final thoughts before we go into the...
I'll just say, whenever you have that mix of the six, probably the six most entertaining wrestlers on the card, apart from Cody, Brock, and Seth Rollins. Whenever you have those six, it is drama, it is cinema. This is something we have not seen in a very long time. I'd say at least 15 years. It's so good to see that spark of drama, especially in a main event, where it keeps us interested right to the very end, because we do not know what's going to happen even after the bell rings anymore.
You got to go back and look at that Raw Rumble segment at the end back in San Antonio earlier this year. That went on for how long? After the match finished, that went on for
20
how
minutes.
long? 15 to 20?
Yeah.
Was there a microphone involved there?
No.
Exactly. Did you guys hear? We all go to sleep every night. We all go to sleep every night remembering that crowd erupting. There were 50,000 there. It felt like there were 500,000.
Yeah.
That is something. I know we've been watching wrestling for a while. I took a bit of a break for a long time watching it religiously up until the last few years. That segment with no microphone and hard to hear what the wrestlers or the performers, superstars, whatever you want to call them, were saying to generate that emotion and that crowd reaction says all you got to say about these blokes. And maybe I was a bit harsh on the whole, when's this going to finish and all that, but it looks like for now it might be put to the side a bit and there's a bit of internal, but if there's still more in the future, give us more.
Yeah. Before, I'll just have one last say. I just want to say big applause to Michael Hayes for creating such a story.
It's pretty good, the Freebird.
Yeah.
Pretty good, the Freebird.
Yeah. I'll give that match a 4.5, just given the dramatic storyline match or if everything overall. Yeah. Joe?
I don't think, not to take anything away, I don't think it had the emotion or the intensity, and comparison can be a theft of joy. It was no fault of this match of its own, of the Royal Rumble, and then dare I say WrestleMania, but especially comparing it to the Royal Rumble turn of Sammy on Roman. Ring work was great. Couldn't fault the performers. Drama was definitely there, like we've seen seldom time before. I'll give it a 4.25 out of 5.
Archie?
Yeah, I have to go 4 3/4. It had the WrestleMania Night 1-esque of KO and Sammy being the underdogs for majority, and they found the way to win. Add on to the the final lap of the match. It was tremendous to see it. Definitely a 4 3/4. Amph?
Yeah, that's a 4.5 for me. Just from the start with Sami Zayn coming out, having that huge pop, finally seeing him Saudi Arabia, him having his mocking Paul Heyman entrance, announcing, he addressed the crowd in Arabic, he did all that. He really, really shined in that. The match itself, I feel like it was a typical heel dominant kind of tag match where they'd pick on one wrestler, deny them from tagging their partner, just really, really digging into them. And then by the time we got to the end, we finally saw what was being built up from past SmackDown. Jimmy finally getting his comeuppance on Roman.
It was a real mix of the Royal Rumble match and the WrestleMania match, wasn't it?
Yeah. We got the drama from the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
And we got the
Dominance of Night 1.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was good.
John, how about yourself?
So I think I'll give it a 4.5 stars. Like the quality of the match itself was excellent. You got 4 really good in-ring workers there. They had an excellent match, and then on top of that, you had the drama. Like that drama was booked to absolute perfection. I think when you actually finally get the twist with one of the Usos pulling the trigger on super kicking Roman. Like, I just can't wait to see where they go with this, especially on SmackDown. Does Rikishi get involved with that tweet that he put where he just said enough? Like that was done to absolute perfection. It was a great match, and the drama itself, like that pushes that rating up just a little bit high because they told a damn good story.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
RG, you want
I
to
just
take
have
your thoughts?
I just have two more points. One, I would have loved to see their reaction if it was in America. I feel like it would have been, like Joe said, 500,000 people in the building erupting.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that as well. I was actually going to mention that if this match happened anywhere in the US, especially if it was in one of like
The hotbed crowds.
like the hotbed crowds, like something like Philly or anything like that, they would have.
Don't take anything away from Saudi Arabia.
No, it was great.
They know what's going on there,
Yeah.
especially when they sing.
And just the other part, I think SummerSlam, one of the two money matches they could go with this is either Solo and Roman versus the Usos, or they have the four-way match for the world title, for the Unified Championship. That's SummerSlam.
I think they
For
could.
the Unified Championship.
For both titles.
So who would be in that match?
Solo, Roman, and the Usos.
Oh, for Roman's titles.
Yes.
Well, they could probably do the tag team match at Money in the Bank,
And
Roman
then lead
Solo
up to
versus the
SummerSlam.
Usos.
I'd like to see that.
Possibly.
That's a bit forward, but that put a few people in the seats. Yeah, that would be awesome.
I think we'll have to see on SmackDown how it progresses.
It could crumble fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just
Especially this Friday on SmackDown.
And then after it crumbles, I think there's more than one royal family in wrestling.
Yep. And I would just like to quickly add that I loved Sammy's intro when he started speaking Arabic. Like,
I completely forgot until Am brought that up again.
that was hilarious. Like, that was so good.
Yeah, I was actually about to mention it, but luckily Anthony brought it up.
But overall, tremendous show.
Yes, great show. I'm glad that there's actually adding more stories to end of the matches, especially for Asuka, Belair, Bloodline, Cody. At least it's dragging on now, which is good.
Yeah.
Yep. So overall, Night of Champions was a very good show. We'll move on to Raw now, since we just watched it just before this podcast.
No need for notes.
Yeah. What I'll do, we'll start off with the Rollins AJ segment, which kicked off, and we'll go straight to the main event, and then we'll move on to the other stuff, just so we don't backtrack and go back and forth with things. So with Seth Rollins coming out through the crowd and getting that huge pop, the whole crowd was going crazy. Not long after, AJ Styles comes out of respect, and they shake hands, and soon after the Judgment Day come out, which was, I find, pretty interesting, which then led up to AJ, Seth having a match with Finn and Damien later on in the night. I know it's a bit controversial because with the brand split that was meant to happen, but I'm glad that they kind of clarified it just after that first segment by saying that, like, I know it's meant to be a split brand, but these guys need to get beat up and get their revenge. And yeah, I'm glad that they kind of like clarified that, just so it wasn't a brand exclusive match and it's just a one-time thing.
Well, I think AJ came out and made reference to it as he said something along the lines of, "I shouldn't be here," or "I know I'm not supposed to be here," something like that.
Yeah.
And was it me, or was it a tad confusing where AJ was going with all that? Because we thought he was coming out to give his congratulations to Seth. Then he said something very tongue-in-cheek, and he goes, "You're not getting the respect." And then when Seth put his...
Or something.
Hey?
Or something like that, like you don't deserve the respect. Or
Yeah, you don't deserve it. And then when Seth put his hand out, you thought, okay, AJ's not going to shake his hand. But then he did. And then we got the Judgment Day. So, am I the only one that thought that was a tad bit confusing? Not the end of the world,
Maybe
but
he
yeah.
stumbled on it.
Yeah, like I thought it was a little bit confusing.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. But
No harm done, though.
yeah, like I think AJ could have worded it better by saying like, "Oh, you don't deserve it."
I feel like it may have been crossed.
He did, didn't he? He said you don't deserve it.
you said you don't deserve it, but you've earned it, or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, that was a funny one.
Yeah, bit odd.
And then he shook his hand.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yep. I think it could have been worded better, or
Yep,
something better could have been said. But leading up to that main event match, it was a pretty good match. You had Dom and Rhea, of course, interfering totally non-stop, and eventually the ref throwing them out pretty much instantly. And by the end of it, Seth Rollins and AJ Styles got the win, with Seth Rollins pinning AJ Styles. Sorry. Seth pinning Damian Priest, sorry. Overall, I think it's a good start with Seth getting the pin. And I think it's a good start to potentially having a rivalry with Judgment Day. Probably most likely Damian, I feel, for his first title challenge.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think maybe at Money in the Bank, he could probably put his title on the line against either Damian or possibly Finn. Because Rhea Ripley hinted, any one of us will challenge you for the title.
I picked up on that too.
Yeah, and then she said, including my Dom, and then he got a freaking huge amount of heat from the crowd.
As soon as my Dom got on that mic, before he even said anything, it was just nuclear levels of heat, just non-stop.
Him and later on there was someone else who got drowned out by the crowd as well. We'll pick up on it later. Cam, you're of the opinion now Priest is the most seriously taken in that group?
Oh, besides Rhea. But
is he the leader of that group, Priest?
From what we spoke about last week, that's my opinion.
He's not just the enforcer anymore.
Finn is technically the leader, but it feels like as if Damian Priest is the leader of the group because he's taken so much more
He's the veteran.
Yeah.
When Finn talks, it's just too comedic. I feel like Judgment Day should be like this dark entity.
They should be completely serious.
They should be completely serious. Like when Edge started the Judgment Day, how it should have been like that. And it should have stayed that way since day dot.
But then I'll ask you this. Does Dominic fit that dark role?
He just doesn't have to talk. He just has to just stand there and he'll get booed.
Well, Rhea doesn't fit it anymore either.
But she can go either way.
No, but that's true. But Rhea, 4 out of every 5 sentences out of her mouth can be taken in a tongue-in-cheek or a comedic manner or a real sarcastic, heelish manner as well.
Yeah. And I feel like it's not the right direction for them. Like, I always go back to it, even from the last couple of podcasts, that we need that heel Finn from NXT where he's taken more seriously. I don't take Finn seriously whatsoever.
Anymore, yeah.
Yeah. But overall, the main event match was decent. It was good. Did you guys have any other thoughts on it?
Just going back to, I liked how Seth took it a bit more serious with his entrance. It wasn't too flamboyant. His overall outfit, just like that him in plain black with that world title looks so good. Yeah, and hopefully he can keep that going.
Yeah, like I think the black and gold, like the black attire and obviously the gold championship, like they clashed perfectly.
He's probably not going to be rocking up in a 3-piece suit, and that's probably the closest we'll get to with that.
Yeah.
How long's Teddy Long been back? Running things.
Teddy Long.
Well, every blow-off is a tag team match these days.
Well, that means he's probably never technically left because there's always a big tag team match every
It's good.
week.
There's just no one-on-one with The Undertaker. But no, it's good to see the tag team matches. You get those schmozzles as well. Reminiscent Cameron, you'd remember of Nitro and the Attitude Era. Big blow-offs at the end. No, it's good. It's good to see the maximum amount of talent in there as long as it's not overdone. But I wouldn't mind seeing a one-on-one match to finish Raw every now and then as well.
Yeah, because the tag team matches has been like a staple for the past couple of years. Considering the quality we've had in tag team matches with all those amazing tag teams, so I can't really knock them for using tag teams a lot, like tag team matches a lot. But yeah, like you said, Joe, I think every now and then it wouldn't hurt to finish off a Raw or a SmackDown with just a one-on-one match, no tag teams.
Yeah.
Well, here's a question: when was the last time we ever had a women's main event on a house show?
On a house show or a main show?
Yeah, like on Raw or SmackDown. It's been quite a while.
Was Bailey? Was that cage match supposed to be the main event of it?
No, it was in the middle.
That was like in the middle of the show.
There is something.
There was one recently, but I just can't.
There's the infamous one.
Obviously, Trish and
Lita 03. That was the infamous.
Was that 03 or 04?
04.
04.
Early 04.
Where Lita finally won the title.
Yeah, that was the infamous one. Apart from that, I can't remember too many.
We don't get many women's segments at the end anymore.
No. I know there was one that
there is something.
There is one that's happened recently, but it's just slipped my mind.
Could it be the Sasha vs Charlotte when they were exchanging the Raw Women's title for
That
a
did,
while.
but there was something like within the last 6 months. I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure.
yeah.
Yeah, 6 months, maybe a year. There was definitely something.
Yeah.
Just don't know what it is.
But yeah, we don't see it as often as we should.
Like
I feel.
I think we should. It doesn't hurt to have a women main event every now and then. Like the women's wrestlers we've got now, like they're all fucking brilliant.
Language.
Family show.
Yep. We'll move on to the first match of the night. We had the first qualifying match for the Money in the Bank, which was between Ricochet and The Miz. Poor Miz has had, I think, close to 18 matches in 2023, and he's lost all of them.
He's doing the reverse Goldberg from '98.
The Kurt Hawkins.
Instead of who's next, who's first.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. But
I don't
Yeah.
think there's much left for the Miz. He's done everything.
Yeah, like
If he's happy doing this week to week, I'm happy for him.
Yeah, like he's
He gets to go home to Maurice as well, which isn't bad either.
He's
like,
not complaining.
well, like he's got nothing more to prove in the company. Like he's pretty much done it all.
from
But do we really want to remember the Miz as a bloke that lost every match for 5 years?
Well, I jotted it down here. I'd like to see him go to either a manager role or to end up being the general manager.
That's
of the
what I was
show.
actually about
I
to say.
said that a couple of weeks
Having-
ago. Yeah,
Having been an authority figure.
that has to be the natural. That has to be the natural progression for Miz.
Because like he's excellent on the mic, and if you could put him like as someone's manager to help him get over, or even like the slimy heel general manager, similar to like Eric Bischoff in the Ruthless
fit that
Aggression era,
very well.
that'd be perfect for him.
I think he would overshadow his client as a manager role, depending on how strong the characteristics of his client are. I could see him as a real. He was the host of WrestleMania, for God's sake. So a management role would. A management role would be a natural progression for him, I think.
Or even commentary, eventually full-time commentator.
Yeah, something like that, because you still got to keep him on TV. Like the guy's great. Like he's proven his worth to the company a lot of times over the years.
and given the guy's past, being a reality TV show star,
Yeah, when everybody
and to come back and to bounce up from where he started to now.
yeah, because nobody at the time. Nobody thought he would be as somebody in WWE. They thought he's just going to be like one of the never was type of guys. But
Yep. And plus
he's done it all.
for the first God knows how long, he was kicked out of the locker room for God knows how long.
Yeah, by Chris Benoit. Funnily enough,
Yeah. Eating chicken in the locker room.
Chicken skin.
Well, we know who got the last laugh there.
Jesus, Joe.
There goes our money. There goes our sponsor ads.
Can we continue, Ken, please?
Yep.
Before the FCC get involved.
But yeah, just to round that up quickly, Ricochet won, first one to qualify for the Money in the Bank.
Ricochet won as well. I mean, no, I'm not being funny here, but yeah, it was good to see Ricochet win too.
Yeah,
It had to come at the expense of Miz, but it was good to see Ricochet win.
Last week, yeah.
Yeah. We didn't really think Miz was going to go ahead in the match, but it was
No,
good to see
definitely not.
Ricochet win.
But something's got to turn for Miz soon enough.
Yeah.
Just to get back on that topic.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
It's not a crying poor story, but it's a story at the same time. We don't want to see this bloke.
I think once you
Week
focus
in,
on
week
it,
out.
you think about it.
Yeah, you think about it. Oh, here comes the Miz. He's going to lose every week.
Yeah.
but yeah, like I was happy that Ricochet won. It's obviously the right choice. Like
Yeah.
Miz putting him over is a good thing, and
Yeah.
obviously if you have somebody like Ricochet in the Money in the Bank ladder match,
Exactly.
what do you think he's gonna do when he gets on top of a ladder?
Worth the price of admission.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's our high fly for the Money in the Bank match, which gives me the positive feeling that LA Knight will win this weekend against Montez.
Hopefully, as much as I love Montez Ford, I hope to God LA Knight wins that match.
That's a good theory, Cameron. That's well thought out.
Yeah. But yeah, not long after that was the Trish Stratus segment where she had a very nice bruise on the cheek.
Yeah.
Was that real?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure
That was real. And that was the other one I was alluding to earlier, Cameron, Anthony. Archie thought at one stage her microphone was low, but she got drowned out with the booze.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were in Albany, New York.
Yes.
I think they've actually flown
Straight there.
straight there. None of them have gone home.
Yeah.
That would explain ring attire. And that would explain a couple of the matches as well. I think whoever was in Saudi Arabia have flown straight to New York. And when you think about it, it makes all the sense in the world. None of them have gone home.
Yeah, I didn't know they didn't have enough time to even drop Cody off to the hospital.
Yeah, well, yeah. It was Becky had the blood still on her attire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, Cam. Yeah, Becky came out.
Yeah. Actually, just before that was Zoe Stark coming out before Becky. And I'm not sure if you guys noticed that with Zoe's jacket, she's dressed as Two-Face. when you think about it.
Good pickup,
I
Cameron.
have to look at that. Yeah.
So half her jacket was blue, the other half was red.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's on both brands.
Maybe she's a free agent.
No. So what we were talking about earlier, where I was asking you guys about who will turn, would Zoe's turn
Yeah.
on Trish, or would it be the other way around?
I think Zoe takes the lead as the heel and sends Trish back face.
Yeah.
Have a blow off match eventually.
Yep, it could potentially be a SummerSlam match. I can't see the partnership between them two lasting too long,
No, especially with Trish being not as active.
and a parent and all that.
Yep.
But yeah, so as Becky comes out, Becky was requesting for a rematch, and they go into a bit of a scuffle, and pretty much Trish and Zoe got the better hand, being outnumbered, or doing the outnumbering.
Yep.
And putting a thank you Trish shirt over Becky's chest by the end of it.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone noticed, but it just looked for about maybe half a minute. They weren't sure exactly where they were going with that final part. It took them a little bit, but I think they
It almost looked like they were trying to tie Becky up with the shirt.
I was thinking, or trying to put the shirt over her.
Yeah, they were trying to put the shirt over.
It was a
Yeah.
bit slow. Like, thought they were-
I have noticed, not to take away too much from Trish, I sing her praises more than anyone, but there's been a couple awkward moments with her. Ring work, bit of brawling and all that. Even when she originally attacked Becky, thought it would have been the kick straight away, something she kind of attacked her, fell into her in the back.
She
That's-
fell into the rope.
none of that's really important
No.
or groundbreaking.
The second match of the evening, which is a tag team that we were impressed with a couple of weeks back, which was Indashi with Viri and Sanga against some local talent. Again, I think it's a good showing for them. And I think this is a good spot for V as well, given his last push from last year. I feel him in the tag team division is the right thing for him.
Yeah.
And yeah, they're going to be a threat later on.
Yeah, I think maybe one or two of those local talent matches more, and you start Jinder coming out after the matches and putting him over on the mic, get a bit more heat with the crowd.
Yep.
I think they'll be a formidable opponent for the higher ranking tag teams in the division.
Yeah,
eventually.
like maybe he can cut the promo and he can say that he demands better competition for V and Sanga.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the main start would be after Money in the Bank, where they'll start versing actual roster talent.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Maybe against Alpha Academy would be the first target.
Yeah, you know, that'd be a good shout, because that's probably a good tag team from the face-off against.
Yeah, it's only been a couple of weeks, but strength for these blokes. So good to see him get on the mat. And just that intense look of Jinder Mahal.
Yeah.
Jinder Mahal week to week standing there. And wouldn't it be good if he could rectify his legacy, which I think he's well on his way to doing.
NXT helped him
Definitely.
Yeah.
Help reinvent him, like you said before earlier.
to that manager role.
Yeah, like you said earlier in the podcast, like when we were speaking about Baron Corbin, maybe if he can move back down to NXT, he could help maybe reinvent him a bit. And it's worked out for Jinder.
Yeah, and I think this is looking forward for most stars that are lost in the shuffle later on. Speaking of Alpha Academy, just prior, we had the Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn segment celebrating their win against the Bloodline.
That was entertaining
Oh, very
from start to
entertaining.
finish.
KO once again MVP on the mic.
Yeah, he goes completely crazy because of Imperium interrupting him yet again.
Not being called out.
Yeah,
It's good to see KO and Sammy having a laugh.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's good just to see them on the same page again.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially
Well,
leading
it-
up to the Saudi show.
Yeah, well, with main roster in general, this is the first time they've been on the same page ever, besides the heel turn with Shane.
Yeah, when Sammy was KO's angel.
Yeah.
Because I feel like they did not gel back then.
Nah.
It wasn't the same.
No.
But yeah, Imperium came out and KO had his little blast on the mic.
Yeah, that was so good, yeah.
And then we had the longest shush in WWE history.
5 seconds shush.
Probably more than 5 seconds, if I'm being honest.
And it's good to see Maxine getting into the Alpha Academy get up.
Yeah.
Good to see they're all on the same page. There's no tension in it.
Yeah.
I think that's a
and
good fit.
it's what we called last week as well, that she'll move into the Alpha Academy side of things.
I
and
like it.
And
move away from Triple M.
There was that little bit of a run in from Valkyrie,
Valhalla.
Valkyrie.
yeah. Which, that's interesting to see where they're going there.
So not Valkyrie, Valhalla.
Valhalla.
I was joking. I set you up there. Yeah. Holla, holla, holla. Anyway, sorry. We had a moment there. Interesting there. Is she a little bit more relevant than the blokes who she's supposed to be managing?
No.
No.
I
Viking
have no
Raiders?
interest in
No,
her
no,
at all.
Nah, God no.
It's a weird gimmick.
Even
Valhalla,
even
yeah.
when she was in the Riot Squad, it
She
wasn't.
was a weaker link.
As Sarah Logan.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, she was like the weakling of that group as well.
Yeah, it's interesting because they're really teasing or pushing that thing with Maxine, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe she falls into that Tamina category where she's just there on the roster.
Yeah.
She just exists, and
That's
that's
it, yeah.
She gets her 60,000 a year just
she's
to
there
manage
for,
her husband.
She's there for the bi-yearly women's title tournament or battle royal. There for the Royal Rumble. That's it.
Yeah. But yeah, not long after that segment was the actual match between Imperium and Alpha Academy, which was a very decent match.
Yeah, pretty good. And KO and Sammy on commentary made it even better.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They had a lot of bright spots.
Boldy.
I reckon that's going to stick now.
Nah, you know what killed me was when Kevin Owens after the match was like, wipe that sweat off your head. And as he did it, Giovanni just wiped it off.
Yeah, unless Giovanni had an earpiece in there. That was amazing. That was ironic.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that was a good match between Imperium and Alpha Academy. Like,
And it's good to see Imperium, apart from Gunther, pick up a win.
yeah, like it's
Yeah,
good.
I feel like they needed that.
Yeah, it's good to see that they don't need Gunther's guiding hand to actually get a win. They can do it on their own.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah,
is
he wasn't
good.
even there. Ringside.
Yeah, I picked up halfway through the match. I go, Gunther's not even there. They did it by themselves.
Yeah, like I noticed that from the start that he wasn't there because he's not exactly hard to
manager,
miss.
yeah.
I actually liked the fact as well that Imperium just got that hot tag and just got the finisher done quickly as well.
Yeah.
They have a great finisher.
Yeah, because they've got a great, amazing finisher. And a few other times when they had that tag team matches on SmackDown,
Yeah.
they've really like built it up, that move, that finishing.
The Imperial Bomb.
But to
No
see
one
them,
gets up.
but to see them do it in the fast action was pretty good. I'd never seen that before.
And another thing I like to add was again when Otis was standing on the apron, the crowd was giving him another big chant. Like the guy is proper over with the fans.
And Chad's over as well.
And Chad
They
is
got
over.
Maxine over now. It's
Yeah, like
good to see everyone over in a group.
Yeah, like it's like we said the other week. Like maybe putting Maxine with them could actually work out, and from what we've seen,
Yeah.
it looks like it is. Like
Absolutely.
she's a welcome addition to the group.
Amp, do you have any thoughts on that match?
I enjoyed that match. It was two great tag teams going against each other. They did put on a good show. I don't know what they were getting at with Valhalla, like appearing at ringside and chasing Maxine.
It's just a follow up from the last week.
Yeah,
because surely it doesn't lead into a match because Maxine has never been in the ring. I don't think. She's
I
never,
can't remember what was her NXT name. It's in the back of my head now. But I know she did have a few matches
she did
on the NXT roster.
Yeah, not on the main roster, though.
but not on the main
I
roster.
think
She's,
that's, yeah.
she's only ever been like a manager or something. Like
Yeah. Yep. Archie will fill us in on that a bit later. But moving on to that was the Fatal 4-Way Women's Tag Team title match between Chelsea Green, Sonya Deville versus Damage Control of Bailey and Io Sky versus Shotzi and Raquel Rodriguez.
Rodriguez.
And a not so happy couple of Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler.
Why didn't we get this match at Night of Champions?
3 women matches already on the card.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's why.
Plenty.
Given that,
I think it was justified. It should have been. It should have been. But what Archie said is the reason, and I'm not happy with it, but it should have been. It should have been on Night of Champions.
Yeah, I think it probably should have been, but I don't know. Maybe they didn't want to stretch out the Night of Champions card too much because they already had 7 matches.
Yep, and I think it's just to give the weekly shows that title match here and there.
So many.
Yeah, because like they probably wanted to do something to try to keep viewership because of NBA. Maybe that's part of it.
Yeah, potentially.
And just quickly, that was the reason why they actually had the SmackDown Superstars compete for the Heavyweight Championship. They confirmed that they did that so they could keep SmackDown's viewership up over the conference finals.
Just to still be in competition with it.
Yeah, that was why they did it. I found that out just today.
I didn't know that. That's very interesting.
Yep. Just to give the quick result to everyone, Ronda and Shayna have a new women's tag team titles.
Yeah.
After the match, they end up having a little quick segment to say that they're the baddest team of all.
Are they trying to call anyone out there?
No, they didn't call anyone out.
Are they Are they trying to? Are they winking at anyone? Saying they're the baddest team of all?
Probably just winking at every tag team just to say, come at us, try your luck.
Unless we get a Sasha, Naomi, and Tamina team bad.
Throw Charlotte in there too.
Well, I find it a bit coincidental the night Ronda and Shayna win the title, we finally get a video package for Carter and Katana Chance.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Maybe that's probably what they're alluding to.
Yeah. But yeah. I don't know.
The right team won.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
It was expected from even before Mania.
Because
That's it.
they've been teasing it for far too long, and honestly, it's about time Shayna Baszler wins a title on the main roster.
And now Ronda's completed the Triple Crown.
Yep.
Yeah. Did you end up getting what was Maxine's name on NXT?
Yes. So in NXT, her name was Sophia Cromwell.
Oh.
Yeah, and before that, she wasn't on.
Yeah, Maxine Dupree sounds a lot better.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. That sounds far better.
Next match was a bit of an odd one. I wish a debutant actually got the win here, which was JD McDonough versus Dolph Ziggler.
No, it was a double count out.
Yeah, ended up in a no contest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what they were thinking with that. Like, if they were gonna have a match of Raw, I'd say probably just have JD McDonough squash Ziggler. I don't know why they had to go.
Ziggler doesn't deserve to be squashed.
No,
I think he falls under the Miz category.
He's the wrong
now.
person to be squashed. I'm not trying to disagree with you there, John, but yeah, when McDonough, that's his name,
Yeah.
originally it came out, I said, well, because I was a bit cynical there, I thought, why, is he just going to roll over Ziggler here? Ziggler doesn't deserve that.
No, but Ziggler knows business.
Yeah, like Ziggler's probably been in that role for a while. He's just putting over talent. But
the double count-out was
yeah, that's
very weird / interesting.
like it's for me. That's like a nonsensical decision. Like
Did they have any previous rivalry before this?
Just from the Battle Royal.
from the Battle Royal when after outside of the ring when they were both eliminated, JD McDonough beat up Dolph Ziggler. He attacked him.
Outside the ring again.
Yeah.
I don't think there's too much more to write home about that, other than
Yeah,
that.
like
Let's see where they go with
next
it.
week.
Yeah.
Just out of pocket, really.
I'm not sure if it's me, but did you guys get like the Brian Kendrick vibes of JD? On a more serious note.
Yeah, well, when he was the Brian Kendrick, he was a more heelish, more down to the ground. Maybe even a Finn Balor.
Yeah.
I know it's the Irish connection there, but Finn Balor had that, especially in his second run in NXT as a heel, more ground-based heelish.
Who was the other bloke we thought? Finn and someone else? He's a mix of Finn and someone else, looks-wise.
AJ Styles?
AJ, yeah, that's right. AJ. Yeah.
On a drunk night.
Where they went out for 9 months and no one saw them.
But yeah, I've seen JD on NXT and he's done some good matches. I wish they gave him the strong win, at least.
Yeah, like if they're gonna have him have a match on Raw, at least just have him get the win instead of doing this double counter nonsense.
Yep. I think the plus side is he hasn't been pinned yet, even though it's just this beginning. But
Yeah.
it would have been nice for him to get the win straight away. After that was our good friend Mr. Rhodes, and his segment.
Where was the segment from? Live from the intensive care ward of someone, or what?
Sure, recovered quickly.
Oh, did Cody Rhodes appear on the show?
Yeah,
I thought he was dead.
I thought he was still past that in Saudi.
You think I don't know. You think he'd probably be written off after that match, but
We thought that many times.
Maybe it was like that South Park episode where they inject the money into someone. Yeah, sorry. I'll stop
Maybe
now.
he's Kenny.
I'll stop
Yeah, I was
now.
gonna say he's Kenny.
He looks like
the
Kenny.
week after.
He looks like Kenny.
He is, well, someone does call him Ken Doll.
Yeah. I'll stop now. Go ahead, Cameron.
Yeah. Pretty much, long story short of it, Cody has offered a open challenge to Brock Lesnar to end it all. But with his arm in the cast, is it going to happen at Money in the Bank? It's going to happen at SummerSlam? Who knows? I thought the proper thing to do was to write him off since he has a broken arm.
It might not even happen at a... there's a bit of smart ass. It might not even happen at a pay-per-view. It might happen on Raw. Well, surely how he hasn't had...
Come on, Brock Lesnar.
Surely how he hasn't had a couple of weeks off in storyline. Okay, I understand. He's coming out. He's so over. WWE would be going to sleep every night, so happy that the fans are still cheering him like crazy, especially after what happened at WrestleMania. But what's that age-old adage? How can I miss you if you don't go away? Well,
Been away for 9 months.
how can you sell these injuries if you don't go away? No, I understand. Yeah, but that's a good point. He went away for 9 months. That's true.
2 years in a row and have him expect to win him.
Yeah, but not for
expect
9
to beat
months.
Roman Reigns.
Just for a couple of weeks to sell the bloody injuries.
Yeah, just after Money in the Bank.
Just to sell the injuries.
SummerSlam, which
You
is where the
think
match
that's in
should
their
be.
head? That he went away for 9
That's
months?
it.
Yeah,
Of course.
Archie's probably right there.
And I'd like to maybe see Brock pick up that open fight when Cody's in the Money in the Bank ladder match. If he does have a qualifying match, he wins. Then Brock costs him the Money in the Bank title, and it sets up for SummerSlam.
You know what? That could probably be a good way to do it.
Yeah, that would make sense because in Cody's promo, he was saying, anytime I'm on stage, I'm in the ring, I'm ready for a fight. Like, he's issuing an open challenge,
Yeah. But, like I said, at least play the injury bit. That's all I've got to say.
Yeah.
He did have the cast. right?
Yeah, he did.
Okay.
Yeah.
And his arm was in a sling.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I don't know. I'm surprised they didn't just write him off of TV, but considering how over he is, I kind of can't blame him for bringing him out every week because I know he's going to get a massive reception.
I understand where Cam's coming from with it, but I just feel like WWE need him on TV. I feel like they booked themselves in the corner with this injury.
But this is the issue. Like, they can't keep relying on the ones that give the big pops every week. Because what if they're gone for a long time again?
Then they've got nobody else to fall back on.
They need to put the trust in everyone else.
But I don't know. I think all in all, it was a very solid promo from Cody. Well, every time he cuts a promo, it's always very, very solid.
That might be his best promo since he's come back.
Nah.
Nah,
The whole
his
build
best
up to
promos.
Roman and everything to finish the
That
story.
was a really good promo.
Some of the promos he had in the lead up to Mania were probably better, but the one he did today was still very, very solid. Like he's great on the
He's
mic.
great.
Yeah.
And we're just got to see where they go next with it.
I'm actually curious to see Cody as a heel in WWE, to see those promos.
Could you see it happening? Him being a heel?
Yeah.
It's
eventually.
done
All the
eventually,
story?
but
Maybe after
When?
he finishes the story.
if that story ever finishes.
Let's hope.
It's got to finish.
How many
It has
chapters is in it? That's
8
the
months
question.
worth of chapters left.
Like, considering how much they speak about him finishing the story, it's bound to happen.
If
It's
he's
just,
still going on about it into now, it's going to be June. It has to be finished.
That blonde hair's going to turn white and he's still going to say, I need to finish my story.
but at least he's not mentioning his father's name anymore, which is a plus. How many times did he have to invoke Dusty?
Who is his dad?
Oh, I think he's a man called Dusty
Pedro
Rhodes.
Morales.
You got to pronounce it right. It's Dusty. Next up was a little quick interview with Riddle backstage.
There should have been a drug tester on set.
He passed in flying colours, which means he was pissing in different colours. But the odd part was Gunther confronting him, saying that he wants him to win the Money in the Bank and to challenge him for the Intercontinental Championship.
So he could defeat him and humiliate him.
Is that a red herring, or
Maybe
do we
he's-
think? Because the last the last Money in the Bank challenge was Austin Theory, wasn't it? For
Yeah.
the US title was failure.
Maybe it's just them hyping up a potential match between the two, but obviously without Riddle winning the Money in the Bank.
Yeah, well, I said that in the last Raw review. I think they are setting up for a Gunther Riddle program.
It wouldn't hurt anybody. That'll be good.
Fine.
Well, they haven't even announced Riddle being in the qualifying match as far as I
We don't know who the competitors are, do we?
No, they're not even.
We've seen them as they
announcing-
come.
Yeah.
On SmackDown, we do know we're going to have LA Knight versus Montez Ford. We've already had...
But we don't know all the matches.
We don't know all of them. And today we've already had...
Next week will
Ricochet
be,
Miz.
and next week will be the first women's qualifying matches as
Yeah,
well.
we still haven't had any women's yet. I
Well,
mean,
Becky...
we
Who's
got a month.
Who is it next week? It was Becky Lynch, I think, versus someone. I can't remember who, but I'm pretty sure...
Sonya?
Maybe.
I think it was Sonya Deville.
But yeah, they're starting to hype it up now. I'm guessing we'll see more in the next week or two.
Yeah. Plenty of time to tell what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But yeah. Speaking of Money in the Bank qualifying matches, was Shinsuke vs Bronson Reed afterwards.
Yeah.
Very good match.
Surprised.
Surprised.
Clash of Styles.
Yeah, Clash of Styles. Not only that, Bronson Reed got his first pinfall loss.
Yeah. He was kept very strong in the. It took 3 Kinshasas.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, so
Yep, and it took the one from the back of the head to get the win.
that's usually the fatality
And
one.
it took a couple errors as well from Reed in his judgment as well, so they kept him very strong.
Yeah, he hasn't missed a tsunami yet.
But once again, any match that Nakamura wins is gold for me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd love to see it.
And it just shows like Nakamura's experience against Bronson Reed's inexperience that got Shinsuke the win.
Yeah, that's a pretty good shout. I think that was a great match between the two, but I don't know. I'm surprised Nakamura actually won the match because I thought they'd probably go with Bronson Reed to win so that they can get the big guy in the ladder match just to like see what he could do if he gets on top of a ladder.
It was a nice surprise, though.
It was a nice surprise, but like I thought they'd probably go with Reed because every year now in the Money in the Bank ladder match they've always had at least one big man in there to spice it up a little bit. Because last year we had Omos, if you remember correctly. So I don't know, but you know what? Since it's Shinsuke Nakamura, I don't think anybody could really complain. Like everybody loves the guy.
Yeah, definitely.
Great match.
Yeah. So that's the wrap up of Raw because after that was the main event between Seth and AJ.
Yeah.
Seth, AJ, and Judgment Day. But I might as well just cut off on a quick little predictions or expectations.
Going forward.
Yeah, going forward. Who's everyone's pick for Money in the Bank, men and women's?
Bit of a hot seat.
Yeah.
Winner, win the matches.
Yeah.
Money in the Bank, men's winner. I'll go Nakamura. Money in the Bank, female winner. Raquel Rodriguez.
Ooh, that's a good one. Male, I'm sticking with my boy LA Knight. And female, I'm going a bit out there, Chelsea Green.
Ooh.
Chavo.
It's a bold call, yeah. Amph, who's your picks?
For the men's, I'm stuck between LA Knight and Shinsuke. Like, they're probably the two competitors I'd love to see.
Are you
have
saying
a
you're
briefing.
stuck between Archie and I?
Yes, I am. I can't choose.
Like an Oreo.
I'd probably lean more towards LA Knight because that means we'd get his push. We'd finally see him up in the big leagues. As for the women's, I have no idea. Maybe...
Let's pick a random one for now. We'll do a quick...
We're not going to hold you to it.
We'll do a tipping comp.
I don't know
before
who would
it
be...
Once
in
we know
any
at
role.
least one entrant.
It seems like you're looking for the answer now.
Oh, you mean Raquel Rodriguez? Yeah. Yeah, maybe her. She'd get a main title push. It'd be good.
Yeah, John?
For me, with the men's Money in the Bank, I'm still going to stick with LA Knight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want that guy to win something. He's so damn good.
How old is he again? 18? 19?
He's probably
Pushing 20?
probably solid 21. He looks it too.
DDP started wrestling when he was 35.
There you go. Batista got his first big push at 36.
Well, that's it then.
And then
Stop talking, Joe.
for the women's Money in the Bank, I'm gonna give a solid shout. Zoe Stark.
That's good.
Hopefully she shouts back at you.
I'll shout back at her.
Yeah. For me, I'm sticking with LA Knight for now. Till we do our tipping for that pay per view.
I feel the Rick Boogs treatment coming on for LA Knight.
I should have said that now. For the women's, I'm going to take a wild shot if she's in any of the qualifying matches. Io.
I like it.
I'm still sticking by Raquel to win the women's rumble this year.
Next year. Yeah.
Yeah, they got high.
With the next one, yeah.
standards for
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, wow. So what do you say that whole thing with damage control then? Splitting it up?
Could be.
Here
Yep.
you go, face.
Yeah.
Yep. I like it.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have a problem with it.
That's my pick for now.
Yeah.
But we'll go to the lead up of that later. Speaking of the tipping comps, the scores are Joe, Anthony, and John are on 6.
Yeah.
6.
We all got Trish and Becky wrong.
Yep. Me and Archie both, or not both, he got 2 wrong, I got 2 wrong. We're on 5 points. Archie unfortunately got, was it? you
Roman
picked
and Solo.
One, yeah.
Was it? Did you pick Roman Solo or was it the Cody?
Yeah,
Roman
Brock?
Solo.
He changed his
Roman
mind.
Solo.
Yep. And I picked Bianca Belair to defeat.
Yeah, so you're both on 5 then.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we're both on 5. So that's the score count so far.
That's cool.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
To find out what the winner gets at the end of the year.
I'd be more interested in what the loser gets.
That would just be
250 grams of came in.
Mm.
Oh, no.
Do they take sick pay?
We'll get on to sponsors later.
Easy. But yeah, that's the wrap up for tonight. We'll let everyone know. Just put their comments in to give us their predictions so far for Money in the Bank winners.
Yep.
Besides that, Joe, you want to finish it up?
Like, comment, share, subscribe, poke, nudge, do whatever you got to do. Archie's struggling. He's only had 120 nuggets from McDonald's this week.
Spicy nuggets.
He's 30 down on his quota of 150. Come on, guys, dig deep, please. We're asking now more than ever.
No worries. Have a good night, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
See you later.
Bye-bye, butters.
care.
Bye-bye.